Press start.
Just got a new headset, so
I noticed. It's very,
Hey, it
it's
was-
very professional.
It's an
It's
8K
15.
headset,
it's $15.
whatever that means.
Little man, put that
Really?
shit
Just 15?
in
It's
my
15
hand.
bucks? That's for you.
I
That's
think this
understanding
one-
What's going on?
I think this was like regularly like 60 or something. It was on sale
Oh.
for one day for $15.
Wow.
So I'm a huge stickler about audio quality. You sound great. Just throwing that out.
Well, that's why I did it, because I was using the PlayStation ones, which don't
Yeah.
have mic right here.
Yeah.
I was assuming these are Astro headsets, not
Okay.
top of the line ones, but the Astro Gaming. Yeah, normally $60. I got them for 15.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, sounds good. So
And
there
I
you go.
actually honestly bought them as just backup, but then I was like, well, it's got the mic in front of me. Maybe I'll sound a little bit better. So,
It has the Daniel seal of approval. So
all right, good. I can throw the PlayStation ones out of here.
get it
I'm
out of here.
using
Get it
Actually,
outta
the
here.
this-
Apple,
You
earbuds.
guys, yeah,
How high-
you guys
how high
sound way better in this. So
Oh,
I
well.
actually think the quality of these speakers are actually better than what's in that $100 PlayStation one.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
kind of
it.
sad.
believe
This has like more bass, and it's more. It sounds more like more. What's the word? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Just sounds better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's cheaper,
it
so-
doesn't
Fuller.
matter.
Fuller. Yeah. So who wants to drive? Does anyone want to drive or?
I'll drive if like.
I-
What's the script? We're just gonna talk new games, right? Is there anything
What's the
else?
script?
No, there's too many games. I
Yeah,
I-
script and headlines if there's time. Or we'll cherry pick headlines like we do
All
sometimes.
right,
put,
I
like-
can lead. Where's the headlines though? I just gotta
put the
pull it up.
possibility of a quiz in there, and I was like, no, wait, look at all the games that came out. That's
No,
that's
we don't.
absurd.
We don't
I
need any
was-
dad shit on this show.
No, we don't.
Dad's
what-
away. Let the kids play.
I was gonna say I can because honestly I might have the least to say because Callisto Protocol is like gonna be the only thing I have anything to say about. So.
Let's let Dan lead then, if since he
Dan
won't be
can
as
do
distracted trying to make points if he's
Yep.
hasn't played. as
Yeah, I
much.
have a lot. I've
Yeah, I
watched
think
play.
I've played everything. I played Need for Speed, Midnight
Played
Sun.
everything.
Oh, well,
I
there
put,
you
hou-
go.
I put
Protocol.
hours into everything, so yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited
Hours.
to-
hours.
Is there? I
Coors.
feel like there's another
Coors.
game, or is it just
Coors.
those three? something else?
Callisto, Need for Speed,
Dark Tide.
Marvel Midnight Suns,
I
Dark
didn't
Tide,
play
yeah.
Dark
Dark
Tide.
Tide's hard to
Warhammer.
think of new because they've had that like open beta all month, so people are like, "That's been out, right?" No,
No.
just a couple
No,
days ago,
no.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't play that one. That's the only one I could.
Yeah, Soccer Story and Nintendo Switch Sports Golf finally came out.
Oh,
football, as
Those
they
are
say
like
in my.
those are all
I
the
did
new things, I
buy
guess.
a Switch for my girlfriend for Christmas.
Oh,
So I
Girlfriend.
actually think Switch Sports would actually be a good game for
Yeah.
her.
yeah.
nice.
We're doing
that
Mario
something-
Kart for sure. I
Is
bought
that something she's
her-
like hinted at that she wanted? Like she's mentioned
I
it? or-
verified. Like I didn't want to buy a gift for her that was really a gift for me. Like even though I
Yeah.
own a Switch, but I didn't want to force her into gaming. So I didn't hint at it. I didn't say I was buying it for her. I was like, if this was bought for you, would this make you happy, or is it just don't say yes to make me happy because she knows
Sure.
I like games. And she's like, absolutely, I would love that because she loves Mario Kart.
Oh, okay.
Said
Yeah.
okay, so I went immediately and bought it. Didn't tell her, of course. And then I got her Animal Crossing because she used to play that when she was
Nice. There you go. That's gonna be really
I've
fun.
always recommended Ring Fit for all new Switch owners, but the last couple of people I've told that to, and this is not a girlfriend, like these are dudes. They're like, "Are you saying I need to work out or something?" I'm like, no, no, it's just kind of fun, and like
Yeah.
there's nothing else like it,
And you
anywhere
get
else,
like a
so-
decent workout if you don't really actually do a
Yeah.
lot of working out. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I get winded after that. That's
I mean, bro. I work out all the time, bro.
can't
all right,
do
bro.
that.
All right, bro. Settle down, bro. Get those muscles
I
out
watch.
of here.
I go to the gym and watch.
I
people
put the
work out,
fit
so-
in ring.
Well, voyeurism workout. I like
Yep,
that.
pretty much.
So you're working out your eyes. Your eyes are super.
I do
jacked.
one rep, and then eventually I leave when
They just
when
rubber
somebody
band
that works
us.
there goes, "Can I help you?" And I go, oh no, I'm just browsing.
He just sprints out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
kick
anyways.
us off, Dan.
All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Current Gen Podcast. That's what we are, right? Current Gen Podcast. I do streaming now, so like this is beneath me. I'm like way. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I want to see the Twitch checks. I want to see them.
So episode 144. We are at 144. My name is Dan, not Tim. Tim is not hosting today. Tim is somewhere doing something with all 37 of his kids.
Yeah.
So the kids are here. We're gonna get wicked hammered. We're gonna have a kegger.
Yeah.
And
I
it's gonna be
heard that he was like Sith style training his kids to like usurp him, so like whoever the strongest of his kids.
You say Sith style?
Sith style, yeah.
Oh, Sith
like
style.
Like Star Wars, because I'm the Star Wars guy. So I'm
okay,
a
sorry.
Star Wars reference. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, yeah, no, that makes way more sense. I was like, Sith style? Is that like
like CYST? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But we have Kyle here. We have Jeffrey, and we have Derek. Derek with the new headset. Headset.
Hopefully,
sounds fantastic.
Because everybody wants to hear me for sure. So hopefully they hear me a little bit better. Maybe.
Absolutely. So I'm spearheading this thing because I don't have much to say other than talking about Callisto Protocol, which apparently everyone hates. Everyone is very upset about Callisto Protocol now.
I'm just
it's a
here
5 out of 10
actually.
Experience, okay.
I'm just here to say I bought it twice just because I was so pissed at it. I hate it that much.
That you showed them.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna buy it, get a refund, buy it back, and then bitch about it online.
I think you purchased twice the amount of screen time today to bitch about it then. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Extra validated because he bought it twice. Derek gets to bitch twice as much.
Yeah.
Because he bought it twice.
Absolutely. I was excited for this game. I wasn't like hyped like maybe like Kyle, because I know Kyle, you like, well, even Dan, you guys really like Dead Space. So I played a little bit of Dead Space, but it's not my thing because I wouldn't say horror's not my thing, because Resident Evil is like literally top 5 franchise for me. But
that is correct.
Outside of Resident Evil, I don't really jump into a lot of horror games. I did play Evil Within all the way until like chapter 12 of 15, never finished it. And I liked Evil Within 2, like the beginning, but I never finished it. I never cared about the Dead Space games, not because I didn't think they could potentially be good. I'm not into like spaceships, aliens, and sci-fi. Yeah. That's not my thing. That never intrigues me. It's
your
not
Dune
that I'm scared of it.
Your Dune hatred is definitely taking shape. Like, I'm understanding it now.
Yeah, Dune.
Yeah. It comes from a place of not liking sci-fi.
But you like Mass Effect.
If you just have a conversation, it's really illuminating.
Yes, I do like Mass Effect, but I think I like that because it's an RPG. Like I like
there's some action there, and you do like the talking with NPCs because like you like Greedfall and other games like that. So,
but if you asked me, if you said BioWare is only allowed to make either Dragon Age for the rest of their life or Mass Effect, even though I actually like the Mass Effect games more, I actually like the universe of Dragon Age more. Does that make sense? Like the gameplay of Mass Effect is better, but the universe, like the setting, the fantasy of it is better in Dragon Age.
It's more your
cup of tea. I would pick Dragon Age.
See, that's funny because I prefer like swords and shields and magic over guns, so I would pick Dragon Age.
Dude, that's why I love Resident Evil. Like I won't play like an Outlast or something like that. Give me a gun, give me a chance against you. So that's how I'll kick off Callisto Protocol.
So American right now.
Callisto Protocol does not give you a gun right away, but you do eventually get guns, and that intrigues me. Like this game so far, by the way, for those who don't want to be spoiled, like how long the game is, it's 8 chapters long. I'm in chapter 4, so I'm nearing like the halfway mark, I guess. I really like this game, like way more than I thought. And that was kind of what I was introing in with, is that this was not a game I was hyped for. Most people were like, day one. I was like, no, it's horror and it's sci-fi. No. And then I kept watching stuff and I was like, oh, there's a lot of like fatality type deaths. And it looks like basically like a Dead Space / Resident Evil type game gameplay wise, which intrigues me. So I was like, okay. Let's get a little bit closer to the game, and then that's when I finally decided to buy it. And I'll give a short story. You guys know it, but I bought it day one, pre-ordered it. it played terribly on PC. I did get it to run in 4K at ultra settings. I can play it in 8K as well. That's not the issue. It's not my hardware. It is a issue with Unreal 4 actually. So all games that are made in Unreal 4 on PC, if they're not patched correctly, and I forgot what it is. It doesn't matter, but there's an issue with it that it will always in any game, not just this game, it will stutter. So it
Yeah.
has to be patched.
Midnight Suns is doing that too. It's Unreal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Is it?
has. If it's Unreal 4 game, they have to actually optimize it correctly. Otherwise, anything that's this is what I like. Digital Foundry explained it to me, so I love that he explained it. He's like, the reason I know it's this issue is because this issue only occurs the very first time Unreal 4 has to do it. So if you go back and play the chapter again, it won't stutter. It only stutters the very first time. And so he showed
That's
you on the
so
video.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah, he showed it on the video on the same rig. He played it the first time, it stuttered. Then he goes back, plays it again, restarts it, and it plays. The animations play out smooth. But the stuttering was so bad, and I was mad. So I was like, refund, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spend. I actually paid full price for this game.
Well, if that's what it's going to do for the full experience, then I mean, why would you, you know?
Well, and we're not hurting
Exactly.
for games right now either. So
No,
it's like, why
true.
am I gonna like suffer through this if I'm getting my
Plus-
enjoyment like from a faucet somewhere else?
Plus, the first hour I played it, I'm not going to say I hate it. I'm not a hater, but I did not like, and maybe you guys can jump in on this. I did not like the melee combat. Not as far when I was watching people play it, I actually thought it looked cool. Like you're watching them swerve back and forth. I'm like, this is awesome. You're mobile. This is going to be fun. And plus the weight of the melee combat actually is cool. Like when you hit an enemy, you feel the hit of the enemy. So all that looked cool. So I expected to really, really like the melee combat. When I got in and saw how you're supposed to play it and how it actually works, the first hour, that was a big hard no. And I'm still not completely like, yeah, I like
Specifically though, is it the dodging you don't
Dodging.
like, or
it's the dodging.
And
I
I would
was-
say
so
it's
I
a
was-
pretty common complaint for
Yeah.
for just reviews and lots of people.
who? Jeff and Kyle, have you guys bought it or?
I'm
Just
hours
played it.
into
I
it.
haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't played
Okay.
it.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, so my first, similar to Derek, my gripe was the dodging because I wasn't quite getting it, and I disagree with the tutorial. Like literally, the game tells you it's like it's not about timing, just hold left or hold right. There's no, they insinuate there's no timing to it, and I guess it's kind of right, but not really. Because what I noticed eventually is you need to play this game a bit more, I think, patiently. So you go in for your combo, like 3 hits, right? And then you kind of back away a little bit, and then you hold left or right before they even start swinging at you. And it needs to recognize that you're holding left or right before their animation kicks in. And once I realized that, then I was pretty much fine most of the time with the dodging. But when I was trying to time it with right when they started their animation, like pretty much every time it wasn't working.
They go through it and they hit you.
Yeah.
And the other issue, and maybe I don't know how far you're into this, because in the beginning of the game, yes, there are times where you fight multiple enemies at the same time, but a lot of it is 1v1.
Yeah.
The issue with the dodge really comes when you fight more enemies that are coming off screen.
Yep.
So you could be thinking you're dodging that guy, but another dude just interrupts you and wrecks you.
Yeah.
And then the other complaint is going to be reload and changing your weapon.
Yeah.
Because you literally get on your knees and start like doing crap. I'm like, what are you freaking doing? It's realistic. So if you want like if you want realism, you can't.
And it feeds into the like this is not you're not really supposed to be using this, which has been like the game's tenet since like it announced, which is weird to me. I thought it was going to be weird, like having a horror game that was like strictly like melee focused, and they start throwing out these wild numbers, like it's going to be 80% melee and 20% shooting. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. So I came in really worried, and I got with the program pretty quickly. I am also playing on easy, so those windows are probably bigger and everything like that, in terms of like dodging and whatnot. And I feel like there's just health everywhere on easy, so like that's kind of nice too. But the blocking works really nice. It's really just about. I'm not saying this is revolutionary, and I want other games to like adopt this. But like I got it pretty quickly, and I know what it wants me to do in terms of like the timing, quote unquote, or the button press. But like I'm not making a lot of defenses for when people are like, well, that's a big problem with the game for me is the combat. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah, you know, I can get especially if it's not clicking for you, like you're just getting ping pong between all these different.
I mean, I would just say if you're into this game at all, go into it knowing it's going to be an issue in the beginning. But as you play the game, and this is literally could say this about every game, to be honest with you, and you learn it, and then what you know here starts to go into here, then you'll get better at the game, and it's not as bad. Now I have the muscle memory where when I see an enemy coming at me, I know to go left or right instead of like my natural reaction is either to back off or I'm going to try to shoot you, or I'm a very aggressive person in real life and video games. And so
Shocker.
Sure.
That's surprising. So I really want to just ask Sean Messler. No, I really want to.
We should get Sean on here. Actually,
yeah, I was about to say actually our special guest today, guys.
I really want to swing at you right away, and this game goes, yeah, go ahead and keep doing that, and you're gonna get knocked the freak out. Yeah. And you will die pretty fast in this game. Like
you not even on easy mode can you swing away. Like I've been killed a lot on easy. Like easy's not a walk in the park.
Well,
I feel like easy just means there's a little more health on the ground for the most part.
Easy is I think what somebody said all it is that like you have to they take a little bit less damage off you and you can kill them a little bit faster, and that's it. But everything else in the game is same, like the same amount of bullets, same amount maybe same amount of health too, honestly. So the game is, I agree with Kyle, it is pretty not pretty. It's like, hey dude, we know you're gonna get hit, so we're gonna offer you a lot of health. Like if you crush the enemies, you'll find
if you're stomping on dudes, you're probably going to be walking into every encounter with full health, you know. So which is good. I don't want, you know, and I was telling, I think Jeff was agreeing with this me in chat, like the linearity of this game and like how those types of things that kind of keep it a little more simple. Like I think I remember the dev talking about the carrot on the string technique, where it's like we want you to be dying a lot, but we also want you to be making progress so you're never frustrated. Because we want you to come back and play our game. We don't want it to be this thing where when you load this game up, it's just the hardest, most brutal thing in the entire world. This is not like Dark Souls, the horror shooter. This is something they want you to get all the way through, but like at the expense of, you know, hitting the barriers every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I feel that big time even on the easy mode. I don't feel like I'm stripping myself of any of that, but I imagine everything just means a little more, you know, kind of on normal or hard, you know, that you know you're that one extra hit that you need or that you can take or whatever, it probably goes a long way. And there's been plenty of times where I've been ambushed, like, you know, Derek was saying, where they start surrounding you and I didn't know they were coming from behind me, and I yelled.
Was it that room where you're waiting for something to like build up? Was it that? Did you guys have trouble with that one room where there's all the saws and or like all the kind of mechanisms spinning around? Like that room took me a few times. Like
absolutely. You know, and the death animation is super cool. I haven't seen the same one once yet.
Dude, there have been moments, right, where I'm like, I've taken too many hits. Like for me, I'm like, you know what, F it. I just stand there, let them kill me, because I'm like, I don't want to like conclude this like area and then go to the next area with less health. Like I want to go into the next area with as much health. So like I'm like, screw it, I'll let them kill me. And also it works out because the death animations are fantastic. Like they are brutal.
I told you this, it was it was a selling point of the game. Yeah. So I agree with Kyle. What he was probably trying to say is, we want you to die because we want you to see something cool, but we don't want you mad and frustrated where you actually quit the game.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I was like, okay, I'm doing like Kyle. I'm playing it on easy. I have no desire to play this on normal. I mean, if they do New Game Plus, I will up it to normal.
I'm there for that. Sure.
But I'm okay with doing this game on easy because I'm already like tense when I play these games, so I don't need pissed off. So I just want to kind of enjoy it, but it does. Okay, so I'm sure it is easy. I don't feel like it's easy mode though.
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
games
same
that
here.
you put on like story or easy mode, you literally can just do whatever you want, and the
You
game's
leave
like,
your
I'm not,
controller down and go make a
yeah,
sandwich and come back.
I'm
and
not gonna kill you,
no one's hit
bro.
you yet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna kill you. This game's like, no, you still have to play me. But I don't feel. Again, I'm only in chapter 4. I have not faced all the enemies. I know there's more coming because I've watched a lot of videos on this game. This game has really intrigued me, where I've just been like, let me watch a walkthrough or let me listen to this guy talk about the game. And I know there's more enemies coming that could cause problems, and that might change my opinion next week, where I'm like, F this game, this is terrible design, because that's what I've heard, and maybe you guys have heard it. There's a couple of bosses that are terribly designed,
Okay.
and so that's why I was like, easy mode, because
Yeah,
that's what some of the reviewers did. They played the entire game on normal and then dropped it to easy. So I'm just going to start on easy, but so far, like I said, I'm a little under halfway through. I think this game's great. If you're looking for, I'm not going to say if you're looking for a Dead Space. Yes, it has a lot in common with Dead Space.
Well, so
But
actually, hold on real quick.
Yeah,
And I should
I
have
would
said this.
rather you guys talk about
I should have said
that.
this. I should have said this in the beginning. Hey Tim, could you just cut this out and put it in the beginning? Thanks, appreciate it. Just go ahead and edit that.
I'm sure he'll do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
He'll
I
have
appreciate
one
it.
of his 35 kids that work in the sweatshops.
The sweatshop.
Edit it for us.
Yeah, all the They have 35 computers. All of them are programming and.
What do you want me to do, Dad?
A sweatshop.
Edit it now. Edit it now.
So for anyone not familiar with what this team is, it's a new team that is comprised of, well, the main individual is the guy who created Dead Space. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the creator of Dead Space from
Schofield. Yeah.
Is it Schofield?
Glenn
From
Schofield?
Glenn.
Okay.
It is Glenn.
Yes, Glenn. Yeah. Glenn from Visceral Games, which EA destroyed because EA is just a very terrible company.
Hey, Dead Space remake's coming out, and I'll be buying that day one. By the way,
that's true. So yeah, we are getting that, which is fantastic. But yeah, so basically, it's a new team formed by the creator of Dead Space. So that's why, for anyone just for some reason not aware, that's why it looks very similar, similar vibes, similar concept, even like the perspective of the character. A lot of it is the same.
The weapons, everything.
The way he stomps on the ground, like that's very, Isaac Clarke was stomping left and right. There's the telekinesis type stuff, like
also why the game was hyped a lot. Like,
yeah,
the fact that it is that team and Dead Space was killed off the way it was killed off, and granted, 3 helped. We can't just blame EA. Well, you can, I guess, because I mean, EA
demanded there be
3.
like a service like aspect.
Yeah,
or a
EA
probably
influenced 3 a lot, and 3 for a lot of people was a disappointment. Which, by the way, is the only Dead Space I actually beat because I played it co-op. Great co-op game.
I don't hate that game. Yeah, I think that game is awesome.
Great co-op game. It is super fun. But anyway, so EA, they played a part in it, but I think for me, what I like about this game is that it is Dead Space, but they clearly were trying to make it their own when you actually play it.
Especially the melee, right?
What's leading to, I believe, again, this is just I did some digging and watched a lot of reviews. And
really? I should listen then.
But I'm finding is a lot of people are upset because they wanted Dead Space, 3 redone, really. But Dead Space 4, that's what they wanted. And what they got is something similar, but not exactly like that. So that's where a lot of the complaints are coming from, because it is more melee focused. It is less open. There are still a lot of differences.
Sure.
And so to me, the hype from it being the Dead Space team was good as far as getting money. It did. It generated a lot of pre-orders, and it's going to generate a lot of sales. But it also was detrimental to a lot of reviews because they didn't play it safe and just go, we're going to do exactly what we've done before. We're going to show you it looks the same, but it's not actually the same game.
Like we're getting the remake, right? Hopefully that sells well. So then maybe they remake 2. And then, I don't know, I guess after that, maybe they just don't even count 3 as part of like the timeline and they make a new 3. Like, who knows what happens after that. But I mean, I think that it's better.
if remake is successful, which I have a feeling it is going to be successful. I really do think it's going to sell crazily.
I think the
If it's
people who
successful,
felt jilted by this for reasons I'm sure we'll get to here in a little bit,
Sure.
will probably find a lot of solace, like
Yep.
in the remake. So
I think the next move will not be Dead Space 2 remake. I think it will be a brand new
I think so
Dead
too.
Space game.
Mhm.
This is a test. If this doesn't sell, you don't get a new Dead Space. If it sells, you get a new Dead Space, and then you probably do in a few, like maybe 4 or 5 years, you get Dead Space 2 remake.
But either way, it's not. I think it's nice that this is different because I mean, however it sells, hopefully it sells well, and then if they do make a sequel, then they kind of, fix or kind of change up maybe anything that for people overall don't like about the game. Now, for me, I don't know. I guess maybe this is a hot take. I actually like the combat. Like once I figured out the timing of the dodging, I think the combat is it's like grimy and like visceral, and like you said, there's like a weight to it, and
that was a play on words.
You unlock, visceral, yeah, exactly. You unlock like a heavier attack, right? So there's that first heavier attack that it's like you wind up, so it takes longer, right? So it's
feels
like
good.
Yeah. So it's like a double-edged sword because maybe you have a group of guys they're about to swing at you, but if you get all of them, then that's pretty helpful. But yeah, it's got a lot of. It feels like it has a lot of weight to it, like you said. I think it just I don't know. It just feels like you're really like in a brawl with like some maniac coming at you, just swinging and trying to crush your skull. Like it really does feel like in real life, if you were in that situation, that's what it feels like. It's just very kind of like dirty and yeah, it's just I like it. I think it does feel good. I turned off I don't know, maybe also in the settings, maybe some people aren't realizing or thinking to check. I turned off like the motion blur, or I think you can actually tweak the motion blur. I think there's even a percentage bar because I think at first it was almost like there was too much motion blur. So it was a little disorienting and I tweaked that down a little bit so it wasn't as intense. So it just made it like look and feel better too. So like you can mess with the settings if maybe like something visually about the combat isn't like registering with your eyes. Maybe it just like, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I like the melee combat. I like that the gun, when you do get the gun, it's more used as like a combo finisher because you do your combo and then it aims at whatever body part and then you shoot.
I like that. I like that part a lot, that you're setting up your shots,
Yeah, I think that emphasizes the point Kyle made earlier that the dev said. I think you said the dev said this, or maybe it's your take that this is more of a melee game than a shooter. So clearly, that mechanic right there is saying, please hit them, and then once you hit them, you unlock the ability to take a quick shot, and it's usually a headshot, which is so satisfying.
Yeah.
Which I also
they're still swinging at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that caught me off guard one time. I literally shot the guy's head off. The first guy, I shot his head off, and I'm just like, so I relaxed. I put my gun down, everything like that, and then he just came at me and started hitting me. I'm like, dude, I just shot your freaking head off. What are you doing, man?
Matter, bro.
So,
yeah.
But overall, like I said, I love this game.
Yeah, I'm
liking it. Kyle,
I'm loving it too. I wouldn't be surprised if I finish it and it ends up on the top 10 just because I'm liking it so much. I'm kind of baffled by all just the negative noise around this game.
I really think it's the hype over wanting it to be Dead Space.
Yeah, it might be another case of that. I think we had something similar with another game we were talking about recently.
The reviews that have been like 5 and 6 out of 10, like the headlines were like, "Oh, it's a little too derivative of Dead Space," and I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, did you see any of the previews? Like,
right?
Yeah,
this was clearly trying to tap into what Dead Space was doing."
I
feel like that's not a fair knock, in my opinion.
I never for a second thought this was gonna like revolutionize how we play horror games, and like I think some people who reviewed the games and gave it a 5. That's kind of what they were like saying. Well, it didn't bring in a whole new era of horror. I'm like, they're just getting back to their roots, if anything, for their first game for their studio.
There's enough different in here that
there
is,
but it's not gonna change. It's not gonna change the way that we look at horror, other than like it just being another chapter, a strong chapter, in the genre.
I think what they could have done, and this is just my take. I'm not gonna. If I was personally reviewing this, I definitely would not knock the game for this. Maybe you can advertise that we're the team that did Dead Space, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely, put that out there. But maybe make some of the game look like it's not from Dead Space. Like I'm talking, even you can see in the background his armor and everything. Like that looks
Right.
like that could be in Dead Space.
Yeah,
That looks
for
like
sure.
why
even
not-
like the health on the back of the
Yes,
character.
that's
and
what
all
I'm
that,
talking
that's all
about. I
Dead Space.
get that you're trying to like pay homage to it, but maybe pay homage a little less.
Yeah,
So it is its own
they
game,
did
if that
rely
makes
in the
sense.
marketing
That's
that
fair.
hey, we're the Dead Space guys. They did
Sure.
do that quite a bit, you know. Which
Yep.
again reaffirms my take of well, that's what we were always getting was a little bit, you know, of
Yeah.
that era of horror. And I think other people took the wrong message away or something. People saw
Yeah.
the gore and the state of the art, and they go, well, everything's got to be state of the art then,
Yeah.
right? And it's like no. It's just we're in a
It's-
4K generation now, and they want to show some really icky ookies, and boy, this
Speaking
game
of
has
which,
them, you
Kyle,
know.
Yeah, speaking of which, Kyle, this game is effing gorgeous, by the way. Like
It's super nice. Yeah.
The lighting is insane.
I'll sit there and just watch the lighting sometimes, you know, because a lot
Yeah.
will be going on in a scene. I'm like, well, this is amazing.
Derek, you refunded it on PC. What do you have it for right now then?
I'm back on PC.
Oh, so you are back on PC. Okay, so I was
Once I
gonna ask
knew
you-
they patched it, I wanted to buy it on PC. I've
Okay.
always just wanted it on PC.
Also, huge ups to them pumping out a fix weekend
go.
of. You know, how
Right.
insane is
Yes.
that? Like,
Literally, I
we're-
think the day of. I
we're
think when
never
it
gonna
launched.
like hear about how like they probably had to come in from, you know, being at home and stuff like that and work on this, and everyone just kind of greedily just kind of takes it. Like, not other studios, many of them wouldn't do that. They would just be like, yeah, a patch is coming in a few weeks, you know, and then they'll take your time. Pokemon, yeah, biggest
Pokemon.
franchise in the world. So I mean,
Highest
you know,
selling franchise.
like this is a studio that obviously cared about what they used to make, and obviously care about what they're making now, and they cared so much they wanted to put a fix out immediately, and I think that speaks volumes, you know, for at least something, you know, some kind of
Yeah,
accolade.
this game is so I did play it in both, and when I say 8K, I played it for
Yeah,
like
I
an
was gonna
hour
ask
in 8K.
Yeah.
But now I've actually switched over to my OLED in 4K because I basically set it to ultra. So I've got ray tracing completely enabled, all settings maxed out, playing at 4K. I'm hitting 60 frames per second. I want to play it in 4K. Trust me, 8K is absolutely amazing. Like, it's not that 4K looks the same or better. 8K looks better, but I want all of it. I want the ray
Yeah.
tracing.
Yeah,
I want
Extra accoutrement.
maxed out.
Yeah, the
Yeah, whereas
accoutrement. Yeah, good
whereas
word,
8K
Dan.
at 8K I had to turn off ray tracing. Definitely
Okay.
had to turn off ray tracing. And I had to drop the settings down from ultra to high, which is not that bad, but the point is, and I had to tweak my so I'm on quality mode. They don't have DLSS. They have AMDs because they have a deal with AMD. So I had to tweak it from quality to performance, which does drop like the picture. But still, whether I do 8K, 4K, doesn't matter. The game looks gorgeous. Like, I absolutely love, like, Jacob looks like exactly like the
What's
actor.
his name?
His
Dumal?
name-
What's his name? What's his first name? I forget.
I'm forgetting
Is it
now.
Josh Dumal?
Josh.
Yeah.
Yes, Josh. Dumel.
No.
So he looks
Transformer guy.
exactly like Josh Dumel. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Of course
Sounds
he
like him
sounds
too, right?
Yeah, but
That's
it's like
dude, it's insane.
it's like you're playing a movie because it is him.
Everybody's like a
literally.
star. You know,
Dude,
they had
shout out to
Sam
Sam Witwer. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just Darth Maul
Yep.
shows up and he's just chewing scenery. It's awesome.
Star Killer.
And the boy's girl. Why am I forgetting her name? The boy's girl. The girl from the
Yeah,
boys.
Yeah.
Her too. I actually did not realize it was her because I haven't seen her too much yet. But I saw on Twitter like someone's like, so this is why we're playing this game for her, right? And I was like, oh, that's her. Okay.
Yeah. So and it's cool. And like the first 30 minutes of this game is like watching a movie. It's very cinematic. It's very slow paced. It's very like cutscene heavy and dialogue heavy and stuff like that. And the way that like it crawls to the horror, yeah, there you go. And the way that it crawls to the horror or its start or whatever, I thought it was really good. I thought it was a very, very, very strong opening for this game.
Yeah.
I would say one last question, unless Daniel or Kyle or anybody has a question. What's your feel on, like, is this game to you a horror or scary game? Because in my opinion, it really isn't. Again, I'm not all the way through it. The setting's decent. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm not playing it with any anxiety. I'm going through and I'm going, okay, I saw that move.
It is a very fun house scares. So I mean, you're
Mhm.
walking down a corridor, and like any time that it looks like something could come out of somewhere, it is. So if you're hyper aware of that stuff, like
Yeah.
the scares are they're not gonna surprise you. And in fact, I caught myself with my roommate, like when something would happen, I would laugh and go, "Classic spook," because like that's where one would happen. Of course,
Yeah.
this would happen here. You know, of
Right.
course, something would grab you from here, or of course something
Open
would
a
jump out from
door.
around this corner, or of course as you're opening a door you get it's a lot of course scares or whatever. But I'm still enjoying. I would call it horror because that's what it's going for. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't call it scary. You know what I mean?
It's been mostly like human, alien, deformed human type of enemy. So there hasn't been anything so much leaning in the necromorphs camp, right? Where it's like they have these like blade arms coming at you, like
right. Well,
so,
and
which is
those things creep me out. That's
They
part
do,
of why I
those
didn't
things
play Dead
keep
Space.
creeping me out
I was
too.
like, I do not want to be sliced by those guys.
yeah.
And
no.
yeah, I don't know. It's tense, like when you see like a group of guys coming at you, you're like, oh my god, like you start sweating a little bit because like the combat is hard to fight a bunch of different characters coming at you with. So like there is some moments of like feeling like tense, but like I don't know if it really comes from like genuine horror or more so just like not wanting to die, but again, the death scenes are cool. Gore never bothers me, so there's a lot of me going, "Oh, cool!" Like while someone's like face is being mangled, So it's like that
I
stuff
like
obviously
that stuff.
doesn't scare me, and I think
Or when your head's being twisted off like a freaking bottle cap, like dude.
yeah, I'm here for
the
it.
death animations are
finger
just...
like the thumbs in the
Oh my
eyes and
gosh,
all that
yes.
good stuff. Like it's just like there's just a lot of me going, "Ooh, yay!" Like it's just because I don't know, like oh yay, viscera,
Dude, viscera fucking everywhere. There's just shit everywhere. There are bodies with like the nubs of the bone sticking out, and there's just like flesh everywhere.
It's a
and
mood.
blood,
The game's
like,
a mood, man. And the mood is definitely horror. Again, it's just not scary.
Yeah.
That's what I would agree. So I think the settings well done. Even like I just went through an area where like you're basically in sewage and he's wearing it and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really feel like I'm here. Like I started going, what if I had to walk through this crap? Like this is
I would have walked off the side of the cell block. Like
I would be like,
the second I saw one thing wrong, I'm like, nah, I'm out, dude. I'm not good for anything like this.
The only other thing I want to just say is the sound quality, which is always important with a horror game, this type of a game, and it's great sound quality. They nailed that. So
they nailed far more than they didn't nail in this game, I would say.
I think so.
In terms of like hitting a lot of the boxes of quality on the things that are there, I think that's all good. If there were extra boxes for other people that weren't met, I think that's where a lot of the negativity is coming from, which at the end of the day I get, but it sounds like the three of us kind of knew where our expectations were on this one. So
I'm excited for Dead Space remake because then it'll refresh my memory on that one. So Dead Space, the first one, is my, I would say, second favorite horror game. First being Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil,
Resident Evil 2. So I look forward to trying that one and then refreshing my memory on that and then comparing in my mind, like, do I still like that first Dead Space more? Or am I going to end up liking this overall potentially more than that? I don't know. Just because I'm just between these two, not so much then saying Callisto Protocol is my second favorite horror game, but just because these are obviously there's that spirit of them being similar, kind of in my head being like, oh well, is there enough going on in Callisto that I'm like I kind of like this overall and wherever they end up taking that if they make a sequel, but yeah, so I don't know, we'll see.
I think
that's in
this
January.
game will inspire me to. I already said I'm going to buy Dead Space, but actually play it and beat it. And I personally think I'll like Dead Space more because it's more of a shooter. And that's what I want, a shooter. So I believe, and Kyle and I have talked about this a gazillion times, one of our biggest issues is too many people judge games based off of what they think it should be or what they want. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to have that. But when you're supposed to be criticizing a game or reviewing a game, you should be reviewing what it is. You should not be reviewing what you think the developer should have done. So I'm not being harsh to Callisto Protocol, even though it is more of a melee. I will say I did want to touch on this. I think because of how powerful you are with the dodge ability and the melee, it does take away from the horror. Like as far as look, the atmosphere, they nail it. That's not my issue. But part of horror is feeling like the enemy you're going against is more powerful than you. I'm not that scared of any enemy because I'm like, well, I just gotta dodge them.
Well, I guess maybe then the second half, maybe the more outrageous things get thrown at you, perhaps, you know.
Could be. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
If I felt like, and I'm not talking about the Resident Evil where you have an enemy chasing you that you can't beat at all. I hate that. I'm just saying,
Nemesis.
yeah, I like it when I'm put in a situation where, for instance, The Last of Us. In this game, by the way, plays a lot. There's some Last of Us parts to it. As far as the stealth and stealth killing.
Adopting little girls. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, everything's The Last of Us now. But and
Everything.
Dark Souls. It's a mix of Last of Us and Dark Souls.
That pitch is coming. You make fun, but like someone at E3 this next year, somebody be like,
dude.
But people ask us what we're going for. It's really a Last of Us Dark Souls mesh. Yeah.
So we were making this new Tetris game, and we thought we should combine Last of Us.
When I'm playing The Last of Us, and I'm in a room, and let's say there's 5 enemies. Now they're equal to me, but it's 5v1, and I know they can one-shot me or two-shot me. So I have to be extremely careful how I do things. In this game, I don't feel, as of now, again, I'm close to halfway through, I don't feel that way where I'm like, I have to be extremely careful because these guys are OP, or there's more of them than there is me. It is set up more like a brawler, which again, that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying, but that takes away from the horror. So if somebody comes into the game going, I want horror, I want survival, and I want to be scared. Well, they're going to get a little bit of horror with the atmosphere. They're not going to get scared except for jump scares, which a lot of people downplay as like, I'm not scared. You jumped 17 times. You were a little scared.
I've had a couple of yelps in this game for sure.
Yeah, I jumped a couple times where there was one where I literally knew what was coming and still jumped when it actually happened.
Well, you're trying to anticipate, but it still gets you.
Yeah. So there's that there, but I just think that may have hurt the game a little bit, making you so powerful in the ability to dodge and melee the way we can. I think if it was a little less, I use the example of Resident Evil 6. So when you play Leon's campaign is the best because the setting is the best, and Leon in general is the best. But the setting is the best in Resident Evil 6 for Leon's campaign. But the thing that killed it being like a survival horror feeling game is he could literally do roundhouse kicks. Like you were never worried if somebody got close to you because you're just like hit button.
Or you can jump backwards and shoot like you're John Wick, you know? Like.
Yeah, that
or
type
punch
of stuff.
boulders as Chris, you know.
And if you noticed, Resident Evil 6 didn't do very well, and so when they went and made
Actually,
Resident
it sold
Evil
really
7,
well, but reception-wise,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But when Resident Evil 7 was made, there was no roundhouse kicking, and there was no you didn't feel OP. One of the reasons why I love 7 and 8 is there's a lot of shooting. You're not inferior to everything you face, but you have to still be a little more cautious.
It's striking a balance there between being able to survive, but also having there be a challenge and having it be spooky, but
and that's what brings in the fear. Like if you're playing a game, that's what scares you. Is if you're in a scary setting and you're like, what if something jumps out and grabs me and I have no way of defending myself? Whereas this game's like, just dodge and then beat his head in. So,
but yeah, overall, I am enjoying it. I do like it. I look forward to continuing.
Give it a score right now. You have to
I give it 8. I give it 8 spookies out of 10.
That's actually where I'm at. It could drop when I get to the boss fights and stuff like that, but right now it's an 8 out of 10. It's solid.
I think
it's better than
solid. I think it's a super solid experience. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. I'm glad we are overall enjoying it. Jeff, what on this list are you enjoying? So you get to participate in the conversation.
I want to hear about Golf Story
Golf Story.
or Soccer
Have you-
Story,
Soccer
whatever.
Story?
Yeah.
Oh, Soccer Story. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm enjoying that. I've already uninstalled it.
Oh,
Okay,
uh,
then don't talk about.
We
what
don't
you
want to
like.
hear about it.
Yeah.
But
now.
like reviews put it at like 5 and 6 out of 10, and I'm like, yeah, that feels about right because they get so much, not right, but there's a lot that's different, but in a good way about their open world and RPG elements, where you're able to like upgrade your shooting capabilities and speed and stuff like that.
What is
And
this on, by the way?
Game Pass on PCs.
Oh, I didn't even know it was already on Game Pass. I thought it was like a Switch game. Okay.
No, I mean it feels like one. But the main problem is, and I can see reviewers knocking it for this, and I'm knocking it personally for this, is like the actual kicking of the ball feels pretty terrible.
Well,
and that's like your main
that's a problem.
thing. Literally soccer. Yeah, but it's like it's kind of like a side-scrolling open world. It's kind of a small open world, but it's still an open world game. But when you're trying to take a shot and it's like at a different angle, it's impossible to be like, where's the goal? Like, how am I supposed to hit that target? Like, you're not always shooting in a goal. Sometimes there's targets you got to hit to get coins and stuff like that, and then you spend that later on for upgrades. And you do put a team together and stuff, and you got to build a relationship with them and stuff like that. So I mean, there are actual RPG elements that are interesting. It's just the kicking the ball stuff is rough, dude. Like, it's just.
And that has to be the thing that's the best in a game that has the word soccer in it, right?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
should be the best thing. Like,
and the story is, it's cartoonish in a way that you would see on like Saturday morning cartoons, where some evil entity comes down and bans soccer, and now only sponsored.
I was gonna say it's Footloose.
Only government-sponsored soccer is allowed now, and if you're not part of that team, then you are gonna be jailed or something if you're caught playing soccer. Yeah, it's like Footloose with soccer, basically. It's
which
so
you
it's
use your feet with, right? You kick a soccer ball with your feet. So
technically, it's Footloose 2. That's what I'm trying to say. It's Footloose 2. Too loose, 2 foot, 2 foot,
too loose, boogaloo.
too loose, too sock. I don't know. I was trying to do Fast and Furious.
The reason I would have stuck with it if we were in a gaming drop, but we're not. So I just uninstalled it and just saved myself the time and heartache of not having more time for it, because I'm already in the middle of playing and loving a game, and that's Midnight Suns. So
there we go. So let's transition into Midnight.
Oh, you go. No.
Tell me about Black Hole Some. Won't you come and wash away the rain?
No.
Is that what comes
That's
out?
a hard
So I mentioned the stuttering on PC that Derek mentioned for Callisto Protocol. They are both using Unreal Engine 4. But the stuttering I'm seeing is it's not as pronounced and annoying as it sounds like Callisto Protocol was. So I can't say I'm disappointed or upset by the way the PC version of this game runs. It actually runs really smoothly. I just noticed a couple times where it stutters. And it sounds like that's an Unreal Engine issue and not so much a piece, like all PC games are trash now type thing. Right. So yeah, anyway, that stuff aside, I just wanted to clarify that point. But that stuff aside, I'm surprised how much I love this game.
What is the deal with Midnight Sun? Like, what is it about? Like, what's going on?
Wow,
why are these guys yellow? What is the sun? What's the deal with the sun?
How can a sun be a sun when it's midnight? It doesn't make sense.
I just talk like this whenever I'm upset.
So what's the deal? What's going on?
The story, like, it gets like immediately right to what the main story is. It's like this bad guy that had been long killed or whatever, everybody thought was dead, has resurfaced. It's Lilith, this like super powerful, almighty, magical being. And so they were like, oh man, this is a problem. We got to go. And Doctor Strange is like, we got to go confer with the Midnight Suns folks because they know how to battle magical entities and stuff.
So they're like a team, like Avengers.
Yeah, the Midnight Suns have been like a team that has fought Lilith forever. Like they've been around, like a version of it, and this is just like this era's version of it.
Yeah.
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 So, who's it? It's magic. It's one of the Runaways. Nico.
Yeah, it's Magic, Nico,
Blade.
Ghost Rider, and Blade are like the
Second
ones
Ghost
that are
Rider,
already
yeah.
there. Yeah, the second Robbie Ray is Ghost Rider.
Robbie Reyes.
So
Yeah.
those are like the ones that are like already there, hanging out, and they're already still part of the Midnight Suns. They're already kind of helping fight those magical battles and stuff like that. That Strange can't necessarily do all on his own. And then there's like a caretaker that's there that kind of is like the Nick Fury of the operation. She's there to like watch over everything, and she has brought in people from past Marvel comics that you'll be familiar with to be part of the Midnight Suns before, like Agatha Harkness and Scarlet Witch and stuff like that. Like they have a whole history there. And then there's your character who is just called Hunter, and he was a part of the Midnight Suns too. And she is actually the child of Lilith, but turned good guy. So there's like that whole dynamic there too. And so yeah, that's your customizable character basically. Like you can do anything you want with this character, obviously within limitations of the game. But like in terms of customization and stuff, your outfits and stuff like that, that's in your room and stuff. Like
you have a room and you can use currency to like upgrade things in your room and spruce it up. And
my room is like so occupied right now. It's got so much going on.
Yeah, same here. And like this is the kind of game, like it's broken up into different types of gameplay segments. So like you have the Abbey stuff, which the Abbey is like your Stark Tower, if you will, or your Avengers Tower.
It's
like
your
it's
Belfry.
Your home base.
Yeah.
It's your Belfry, it's your Normandy, it's your insert,
Except Belfry is like upstairs and downstairs. This is like, dude, there's so much to explore.
Yeah, it's an open world, like really. Like so when you're on the Abbey, you have all the outside forests and everything like that as well. And like there's all these like witchy like riddles and stuff like that to like solve out there, or things to explore.
Yeah, you can open doors and stuff with incantations.
But like when you're at the Abbey, like you're there to like interact with like the heroes, which that roster grows obviously. Like the Avengers have to come in because like, hey, we have to take care of the situation. And the game's like narrative is really about how the Midnight Suns and the Avengers like are trying to learn how to work with each other, because one's the subject matter experts, the other are like maybe better heroes, but like
they got like a moral code that's just a little different, whereas Midnight Suns are plenty okay with playing with dark magic to fight an enemy. Whereas the Avengers are kind of more like, can we just keep it clean and like maybe use fisticuffs and that's about it.
Captain America trying to be a nice.
Let's give him all good talking to.
Captain America trying to be a nice boy.
Yeah. And like when I was telling y'all in the chat, like I'd put 2 hours in the game and like I got like 2 fights in. Like this game is way more about like interacting with like people.
I would say I'm like 4 hours in or 4.5, and I think I've done like 5 fights. Most of that is just walking around and talking and exploring the Abbey and stuff.
You'll get into a cycle pretty quickly where like I need to do a lot of side missions so I can get like some like stuff so I can research or items where I can use that to craft things and everything like that. So like so let's say you'll go to a battle, all right? Like after that battle ends, whoever you chose to go on that battle will get experience and everything like that. You also get like friendship points as you fill up that meter. Like you'll have like a big friendship event with that character.
Oh yeah, because isn't there like dating in this or something? Like
there's no dating, but like you're basically like the fan. Like you're the way like if you're playing your character like a goody two shoes, like he's basically like the biggest fan of like all these people, even though he doesn't know who any of these people are because he's like 1,000 years old. Gotcha. But anyways, like it's all about like going back to the Abbey, and you get in a routine. Like you have to make sure you do your daily training, and then you have to make sure you go around and talk to everybody, kind of like the Normandy after a mission, like on Mass Effect. You have to go to the forge and make sure that whatever you got from the last mission is broken down into cards, which I'll get to that in a little bit. The whole card fighting system and the combat and everything like that. We'll get into that in a little bit. But like for this Abbey portion, you're cultivating your cards, and you're sending heroes off on missions to do stuff like while you're doing your mission. So it's like those send away, hey, this is gonna take a day, for this to happen. So kind of make an in-day game go by, and that hero will be back.
I was wondering, because they introduce resting and sleeping before they tell you why there's a day-night cycle, and then there's a part where I built. I'm in the middle of building an upgrade, and they're like, oh, this upgrade's gonna take a day to build, so that means you got to go through some missions. Maybe one mission, go to sleep, and then when you wake up, it's gonna be done. That's when the
next research. And you always want to make sure something's being researched every single time you go back. So these are things you do in XCOM as well, mind you. But XCOM is more of like a Fallout Shelter style, like sideways, like hub that you're kind of choosing rooms and like choosing things from a menu. They got rid of all that, and instead, like, you're walking around your base and doing all that stuff and walking up to people and talking to them, walking to the actual forge area and cultivating things. You know, and you can take, if you have duplicate cards, you can merge those cards to make better versions of the cards that you use. And I guess that's a good transition for the next thing, is the combat. This is the thing that I like when anytime anyone says the word card games, like in video games, like immediately like just roll the eyes back in the back of my head. I'm just
Right.
like,
That's what I wanted to know.
I don't
Because
give
I
a crap
hadn't
about
seen any. I
of
had not
this.
seen any actual video of what I knew it was like a strategy of some sort. I just had no clue what specifically were like the mechanics of.
So
of
you're
this
getting
game.
cards constantly from like doing the side stuff kind of at the Abbey and like cultivating research and, you know, sending people off to get, like, you know, when they go off on an intel mission, they'll come back with cards that can be equipped, you know. So you're always like cultivating your deck, and your deck is like a deck of 8 cards. I don't really know what happens if you reach the end of your deck. I think it just reshuffles and you get all your cards back again.
Because I know for a fact on the
I've been
mission,
in
I
way
went
longer
through
missions
all
than
my
8.
cards.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is in XCOM, you know, like whenever you choose a move, it's RPG element. So it's like, even though it's a 90% chance that you're going to get this shot, I sometimes hit that 10% and I'd miss sometimes, you know, and it would ruin everything about that phase, like in that game. No matter what, if you choose something in this game, it's going to hit. Like, your card tells you, hey, this is how much damage it does. You just need to use it, baby, you know? But there are things that stack, like, hey, if I use this card first, like whenever my turn starts, it's a quick card, so it doesn't count as a card use, and you have 3 card uses per round. And the idea is that, like, just think of those as like your move sets, and your move set every single round randomizes pretty much. You can keep your deck, like, if you don't use your cards, you know, obviously, like, you still have that deck or whatever. But there are cards that you use and it might discard 2 cards immediately. There are some cards that are specials and it clears out the entire deck, you know. So it's like there's a randomization, there's a random factor to everything. So maybe you need to heal, but you don't have a heal like in your hand right now. You got to start burning cards and maybe look for that heal. But there's
some redraws though. You get like 2 or 3.
There's some
per
redraws,
fight.
and you can always redraw a couple, you know, per round, and you know, if you have a bunch of heals in your deck, like you're gonna find one at some point, you know.
Also, another element of the combat that I really love is the ability to throw something environmental, and that doesn't count against your card. It's not a card play.
That's
it doesn't count against you as a card.
You get
play.
a free one of those every, I
think you have to build up the heroic or something, or I don't know. I still haven't worked out how you get there. But I do know that you can spend it without spending a card play. So that's awesome. I love that. Because card plays are finite. Like, each round you get like 4 plays depending on
the game telegraphs who's gonna attack what, you know. So it's like if you're one of your guys are hurting, you know to look above like all the enemies' heads to be like, okay, is anyone going after Spider-Man? He's being a real bitch right now and he's gonna go down, you know, if he gets hit again. And so sorry, Spider-Man. Godspeed, Spider-Man. He's so much of a bitch himself, is what I heard. And anyways, so like
it's Harry, by the way, too, who's voicing him in this one, right?
I didn't.
The actor.
Is that?
I think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I know they got a lot
swear.
of people who have voiced these characters before to come back and voice them.
Pretty
like
sure
the
I saw it
Runaways
on
girl
Twitter.
is the actress from the show. I'm pretty sure also.
Right.
Whoever did Nico in the show is what I think I remember reading. But anyways, that stuff is pretty interesting. So the game telegraphs a lot of your moves and everything like that, and a lot of like your bad guys' moves. So it's like, as long as you're paying attention to what's going on in the field, or if they're close to something you can like knock them into. Some moves will have knockback, and maybe you can like knock them into like an explosive barrel or something like that. All that stuff's there, you know, and it's really, really, really cool. It feels very superhero-y.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's Yuri Lowenthal's doing Peter Parker. Michael Jai White is Blade.
Michael Jai White is Blade. That's awesome.
Because I heard
Mirko Okano, who played Nico on Runaways, is Nico. Yeah. That's really cool. I love those connections. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was just saying, I heard his voice and I was like, "This is Yuri." Like,
it sounded like Yuri. Yeah.
Now that you mention it, yeah. So I mean, what other things are you enjoying about it, Jeff?
I'm sorry. Did you guys mention the movement? Like, how does the movement work in the battlefield? Like,
do you have like a move where you can move one character every round, but like after
is it grid based or is it?
No, it's not grid based. So you can move them anywhere on the map with there's no extra cost or anything like that. You get that one move per round though.
Oh, okay.
It'll tell you pretty flat out, like what you can't do. If you try to do something, it goes, "Oh, you can't do that." Yeah,
and a lot of moves will reposition you. So, like, you know, you're not your other character is not restricted from not being able to move that round, because you might do like a knee, and that knee will bring you all the way up to that person, and now that's where you are, you know. And then there's indicators. They'll be like, after this move, like this green, you know, marker is like where
I also
your character's gonna be standing.
really love you might have mentioned it while I was looking stuff up, but I really love the knockback stuff where like you can knock an
Knockbacks
enemy
are awesome, yeah.
into an environmental thing, or you can knock them back into another enemy and it'll take them out, or you can knock them back into an explosive and it takes out like 5 enemies that are nearby.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love that stuff.
That's cool.
And if you're fighting near ledges and stuff like that on a map, like you can like toss them off ledges and stuff like that as well. Ghost Rider can like open portals to hell and then like lasso people into those.
If you just knock them back into there, you'll just like you see them sucked in.
It's super cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff like that, and a lot of the missions aren't just hey, defeat all the bad guys here. Some of them are hey, you need to protect this thing. This is very XCOM-y too. Hey, you need to get to this thing and destroy it while they protect it. Hey, you need to do this. You know, like there's layers. There's not a lot of them. I'm not going to say it's not going to get repetitive. Yeah. But you're also not doing this for hours at a time. Like matches are 10 to 15 minutes maybe. Every once in a while, a super villain that you fought in the past will like come in out of nowhere on a side quest and totally like ruin everything about that like easy money that you're about to get. There's been so many times where I've chosen like this is going to be easy. I can get some quick cash real quick. I'll get through this real quick. And then instead of reinforcements coming, it's a randomized event where a supervillain comes instead, and it turns into a big boss fight, you know? So it's like you get rewarded for that, you know, but like that simple mission suddenly got turned on side of its head. And maybe I didn't have my best people, you know, in my party with me. So it's cool. There's a good give and take there, you know, in terms of randomization and stuff like that in the
I definitely gotta play this way more because I've been so busy with exploring the Abbey lands, the grounds on the Abbey. Once you get an incantation to open doors, I'm like, well, let me find all the doors then, and I just immediately had to go out and to find everything on the nearby fields. And stuff.
And you'll find like little pieces of paper on the ground, and like you'll pick that up, and it'll be like arcane, like +5. So it's like everything that you're doing and exploring and interacting with is filling up some meter somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and, like,
and
that
giving
feels
you a
good.
small perk for the battles and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's plenty of times where it's like, hey, I had a really nice friendship event with someone, and they go into the next battle jazzed up, and like, so maybe the first hit on them they're resilient to, and also they have 60 block, which is armor, so it's like the other health bar that has to disappear before their actual health goes away, you know? So it's like there's a lot of really you want to go into every battle thinking about like, who did I just train up? Hey, I just trained this person to have like +10 resilience on the lets. I should probably bring that person in if I know I'm finding some heavy hitters. Yeah. So it's really cool, man. I'm really enjoying it.
I love the reward system like that. It's so smart.
And you're getting awesome just like team ups. Like whenever you ever get to play as like a character you created who doesn't feel like a dumb, you know, like make believe like Marvel character.
Yeah, he makes good jokes actually.
He makes good jokes, and it's nice like him being there. But then you can get like Blade as one guy and Iron Man as your other. Those two people have no reason to ever stand next to each other ever.
Sure.
But the fact that you're all three there, you know, and there's this at the very beginning they set up that like Blade has a huge crush on Captain Marvel. Yeah. And like even where I'm at now, like they're still playing with this like joke or whatever. So there's a lot of like side stuff kind of going on outside of like, this is gonna kill everyone and destroy the world. There's also a lot of like character moments that are reoccurring.
And there is a morality RPG element where like you can choose to be either kind of a dick or kind of a good guy. And I've already kind of used a little bit too much of the good guy morality with magic in particular, because she wants to kind of explore dark magic and be encouraged.
Yeah, you have to kind of cater it to who you're talking to.
Yeah, you kind of have to be careful with some people, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because I've already lost a friendship point with her because I went good guy. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a...
Yeah, answer all bad guy to her. She'll really like you for that.
It's like,
they always like the best.
They like them bad, I tell you.
Well, that reminds me of, what was her name? Not Morgan or whatever from Dragon Age Origins. She was like...
Morrigan.
Yeah. She liked the sort of the dark side of magic and stuff. She liked more of like the bad boy type.
She was in the blood magic.
Yeah.
If you were nice to her, she'd get mad.
Lot of blood magic talk in this game for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Nico especially is a primary blood magic user because she has to use blood to, and it's in the show too if you watch Runaways, where she has to like have a blood like a tiny peck basically, a blood sacrifice to summon her staff, the staff of one or whatever, so she can do spells. So I think that's the only blood magic character, right? But it's like a familiar thing to all magic users in Marvel. Like they know what it is. man, it's so interesting. Like and you brought up in chat too, Kyle, like how they're talking about like Civil War and the Runaways arc. They're talking about familiar comic book arcs that have already happened that have informed who these characters are. I love how that's played into the story. It's not like we're discovering who everybody is.
Yeah, Captain America came up to me and goes like, "Hey, just like you, I've died before as well." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you and I have that in common," you know. So, and they're talking about that famous Civil War arc where you get shot and killed. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So like, there's just a lot of that where it's like if you're a comic book reader or just even a passing, like, "Hey, I heard something over there's going on in that Marvel world," you're gonna get a lot of extra stuff going on here. Yeah. You know, especially the people who just like watch WandaVision. There's so much what's her face in this, Agatha.
Yeah,
a lot of Agatha in this game, you know.
Yeah.
So
and it kind of makes it'll help you understand the logic behind some of Marvel's decision making when it comes to TV shows that they've announced. Like they announced an Agatha show, and I know they're doing a Blade movie, and seeing this game and this story play out makes me go, oh man, they're building to Midnight Suns right now. That's really exciting.
So
they're totally building to Midnight Suns.
And also with how hard it is for Marvel to get all the licenses for something, you know. So it's like for Wolverine to be in this game, and also the Hulk, who's owned by Universal, but also you have all like your classic Avengers, and you have all of Spider-Man, and you have Venom, and so it's like everyone played really nicely with this, which is really nice. That feels really good.
I love that.
Maybe there's something going on there where you know, some of the video game ownership rights are a little more leeway.
I think the movie rights,
you know, a
little more loosey goosey with those.
But like games like you know, that's why we don't get more Marvel vs. Capcom games, because apparently those deals can be hard to broker, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's also the type of game. So if it's like a turn-based like card game, they're going to be more lenient than if somebody approached them and said, hey, we want to use Spider-Man in a third-person action game, and he's going to be a main character. They're going to be like, no.
See, and this feels like a third-person action game. Like, the word cards should have never even been used for this game, because like I feel like it's such a loaded term, and it was keeping me away from being like fully excited about this game, because they're like it's card-based. There's like nothing card-based about it other than like you're kind of piece together your moves, if you want to call it a deck, before you go into a battle, and then it's randomized and you get a hand like it's a card game. But outside of that, that's just like your list of moves. That's it. Everything else is like really cinematic, and like cinematic. I'll use that term a little more loosely.
Yeah, it's not like AAA in the sense that Spider-Man is. Like, it
but
is
like
AAA,
when you do a big special move, like a cutscene will transpire.
You know?
Is what I mean. So there's a lot of epicness to it, a lot of spectacle and stuff like that. And when you're throwing around people all over the map, like it feels really good. Yeah.
It's not exactly like Dio Field, which I really loved.
Dio Field was like really quick, because you guys said these matches are quick, but like Dio Field was like,
you got to put a little more thought into these fights.
It's not exactly like Dio Field, but it has some vibes to it, as far as like.
I'd say it has some vibes to it, big time.
With the way the combat plays out. Now, Dio Field, everything's happening all at the same time.
Yeah, this is
more like stop and pop, but the way the animations are, the damage, all that stuff. Like in Dio Field, I didn't have to worry about, well, is he gonna miss? He's not gonna miss.
Yeah, and that's this is very much like that, you know, in that regard, where it's like if you use a move, people are getting hit. You know,
it's all about like positioning, like Jeff
positioning
was
and
saying
debuffs.
Earlier.
You know,
positioning to hit one character into another character and maybe potentially kill both.
Yeah, and if not, you leave one stunned. So next round, you know, you might have a move that like accentuates on stunned enemies, and it does 3 times the damage on stunned enemies. So it's all about like making sure that you're choosing the right, you know, thing for the job. Whereas like Dio Field, you could really get into a mood where like you kind of go to like your same kind of hard hitting stuff, while you're kind of plowing through like, you know,
a lot of that
low grade enemies.
A lot of that was about positioning. So
yeah.
The only time I would have to like slow the game down was to maybe figure out where I wanted to position everybody and like structure it, because I always played at like fast level, meaning everything was just real fast.
Yeah. But also trying to hit multiple guys if you could, you know. That's actually what I like about like Dio Field, and the sound of this. I like the interactivity with stuff in the environment, but also being able to hit multiple enemies, or like having them like hit into each other and like stun them or something. Like I like that combination of those things. As
it feels so good when you can make it happen here.
Yeah. As opposed to just moving your guy and then just attacking one guy and then he attacks one. Like that to me, like feels too slow. You know, I like
And there might be missiles from a helicopter coming down. Now there's a big red circle on the map. Well, get your guys out of there. You know what I mean? So like now you have to kind of like keep that in mind and everything like that. Like the game really does a good job of keeping yourself on your toes and like being mobile, despite it being kind of what we're calling a stop and pop style.
Time to go mobile.
You know?
I have to go mobile.
I only played a little bit because my focus is Callisto and Need for Speed, but I was definitely impressed in the hour I played. Also visually, like again, I was playing on 8K, but it was extremely crisp in the actual gameplay. I'm not talking about cutscenes. It didn't look good on cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, like the character models aren't, great, but that's not what they were going for either. You know,
But,
it's got a very comic booky look to it, to be honest.
Yeah,
you know?
but when I was fighting, I loved the way it looked, and I loved the special moves, all that stuff. I loved it. I thought the character acting too, which is some of the things reviewers were hitting on, they're boring and stuff, and maybe they are. But as far as how they voice act, I thought a lot of them. I haven't.
The voice acting's great. Maybe the emoting on the characters themselves are not. They're not
existent. That's the only knock I have on some of the animations. Otherwise, I think when you're in a conversation with somebody, they do find a way to keep it cinematically interesting, and they're not just having. Okay, now this guy says a line. Okay, now you say a line, and that's not it. It's not just one single shot that the camera doesn't move. Like they reframe, they move the camera around when you're having a conversation. To keep it more interesting, which I got to commend them on because they didn't have to do that. Like these are famous characters. You don't have to be cinematic.
And it's lore dumping all the time. So like anytime anyone's talking to you, it's like, I was talking about Carnage the other day. I totally made up. Carnage isn't in this game or anything like that. Like they would just say like a name, and you're like, oh, I know that.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So like every conversation, you're like, oh, she said that guy's name. You know,
Tony is the one that always name drops like to make a joke. He always name drops like famous Marvel characters and villains and stuff to be like, to be like, oh man, you'll get a monster as big as Fin Fang Foom and stuff.
Yeah, I was just about to say that one.
He keeps name dropping stuff. It's really fun. And also, they did clearly get an imitator to voice Tony Stark. He sounds like
he does a good job.
He's the only person that sounds like someone from MCU proper.
Yeah, he
like
does.
Everyone else, they're like, but it's just him.
That's really good then. I wonder who it is.
Nothing like current Doctor
Strange. He sounds like when the helmet is down, like his mask shield's down, he sounds exactly like him.
Yeah.
When it's up, you can tell it's his own.
It's a little wish.com-y.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, man.
When his mask down,
make a wish, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
It sounds like Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. It's actually pretty well done.
Out of all the games that I started this week, this is the one I was least excited for, and now it's like in my top 5 favorite games of the year.
And I actually haven't even started Callisto yet because I forgot to install it, and it installed last night. And then since then, Midnight Suns has just totally grabbed me.
Are you playing Callisto on PS5 or PC?
I'll be on PS5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart move.
Josh,
Midnight Suns I went with on PC because I watched enough gameplay to be like to go, oh yeah, my PC could totally handle this, because it's not demanding visually. So like I knew Callisto and stuff like that. Callisto and Need for Speed especially, I knew would be like a little more visually demanding, so I just ended up putting it on PS5. I didn't want to bother with having to change settings and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, what were you saying, Dan?
No, it's Josh Keaton. He looks very familiar. That's the voice actor of Iron Man. So
okay.
It's Michael Keaton's brother.
That's what it is. They're all related.
Yep.
Everybody in Hollywood is
all
related
the Keatons
with the same last name.
All those Keatons. He seems like he's done a lot of animated stuff primarily. He was in Arcane. What did he do in Arcane? Interesting. I don't know. It's just showing all of his stuff. So it seems like you guys are actually quite enjoying it. Kyle even saying he was a bit surprised, and now he's really super enjoying it. So.
Yeah, and
it's got one of my favorite loops of the year, where it's just
I feel like I'm
barely Abby time. I gotta take care of this. I gotta take care of that.
I'm like 4.5 hours in or whatever, and I still feel like I'm in the tutorial period of the game. Like I still feel like there's so much I haven't done yet. That I know that it's in the game because I paid attention to the marketing.
Yeah, by day 9, like you're really in a groove. You know what I mean?
Good.
So I don't know what day you're on, but
I imagine that's what factored into the game being as long as it is when people reviewed it. Is like it just. With the type of combat it is and how much talking you're doing, like it takes so much time to learn the game first.
It does, yeah.
And then the story takes over.
Gotcha. Well, cool.
So if I'm reading this right, this voice actor is Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, is it really?
And it says he's in
Spider-Man.
Callisto Protocol, Star Ocean.
Oh,
Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. 'cause
Josh
he's in
Keaton.
Yeah, Josh Keaton.
Huh.
I should know Ocelot's voice actor off the top of my head, but I just don't right now.
Ocelot.
Dude, Spider-Man looks
Remember in
so
Metal Gear
good.
Solid 3 where Ocelot looks at the camera and goes, meow? That's
You know,
really
like
apart.
Ocelot.
That's actually literally apart from the game. So
Wow.
I didn't even make that up. That's just
Genius.
Kojima.
That's what
Shala
genius
Shashka?
is, right? That's what I tell you.
It is. Yeah.
I haven't seen Spider-Man yet, like, because he's not in this shot. So, like, I haven't seen him in the Midnight Suns gear until Dan just shared the screenshot of the or the thumbnail for this episode. His armor looks amazing. That's really
Spider-Man, dude. Spider-Man. It's like not just as a character I love, but like just it's so fun seeing like an outfit of Spidey's. There's so many Spidey outfits, and like even when they make new ones, it's like, oh, that's so cool.
But
like it's
they
so
do
fun.
This game does a really good job of like nailing into like what makes a character that character too, though, because like when like Spider-Man joins like the Midnight Suns, or you finally get him or whatever, like he doesn't immediately want to take his costume off. Everybody there is not really going by, you know, like a alter ego, if you will. You know what I mean? Everyone's kind of an outed hero. So he's kind of like, I don't really trust you guys, you know, like I want to keep my and like and that's a journey, you know, of like of whether or not he's gonna take like it's gonna just be Peter Parker.
Is it a friendship thing? Like you have to up your friendship with him maybe, and then he'll become comfortable with that idea.
That's in my game. He's getting more comfortable, you know, as I'm talking to him. So you know.
So you don't care. He is Ocelot. That's
wow,
cool.
Wow,
nice.
Meow. He looks young. Like when I'm looking at him, like he's played Ocelot.
Dude, he's been a lot.
Ocelot was young in 3, so you know that.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know who any of these people are on this side, other than the people next to Iron Man. Who the hell are those people?
These two?
Yeah.
People.
I think that's the main character on the very end, like your character.
Oh, that's who this is, right? That's the female.
The middle one? Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's not Strange, right?
Because that's what my character
Strange
looks like.
is I don't think he's in this. Oh, it might be Strange. You might be right.
Probably
Strange.
Strange. Yeah, it's probably Strange.
But the sword, the girl with the sword and the.
I'm assuming that's Scarlet. I'm assuming that's Scarlet Witch. I had to take
that could be. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just without the red. I'm like
Scarlet Witch with the with sword. Yeah. That's pretty sweet. Well, cool. That's honestly
sword. Oh, that's
nice
magic then. Okay. That's
is that magic?
Yeah,
you just can't see the blonde hair.
Magic's got a sword. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a nice surprise. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. That's very nice.
Yeah, totally. Big
major surprise for me. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and drive on over to talking about Need for Speed Unbound.
Wow.
Let's pull over.
Would be so
let's shift gears.
Let's shift. That's actually a better one. That's a better one. Let's shift gears. Thank you.
I liked all of those. I thought those were great.
Let's shift gears to whoever is playing Unbound, which I mean, it's an EA game, so who gives a shit, right? I mean, EA's terrible. So
EA is the worst.
I absolutely love EA, to be honest with you. No, I don't like everything they do, but I love their games.
Don't love their business practices? Buy at least 3 of their games a year. So
yeah, I know. I feel the same way.
That's how that's how I show them that I have problems with them. I go and buy their stuff.
They put out what 12 a year? I only get 3, so that really shows them.
That shows them. Yeah, they're going poor now.
So the last Need for Speed, I think people were like really like cranky about, but then they did some patches and some reworking, and people ended up liking it. I think. Right?
I don't remember. Did people love Heat right out of the gate, or
the people liked Heat? I don't think it had any controversy with Heat.
No,
I think it was the one before that.
Okay,
I don't remember which one it was.
I think Payback was the one that like came out. People were like, "This is stupid," and then people played it like me. Like I played it years later. I'm like, "This isn't actually so bad."
Yeah.
They haven't actually made a really bad Need for Speed game. Some of them are average as heck, but this one for me. I have 2 favorites in the Need for Speed franchise. Need for Speed Most Wanted that came out on launch for the 360. That's the one I put in gazillion hours into. And then Need for Speed Rivals, which came out on launch for the PS4, which I put a gazillion hours into that one. This one, as soon as I started playing it and jumping into it, I really got the Need for Speed Rivals vibe to it.
Nice.
With the open world, the weather, the city, everything like that. I do like the story. So where Need for Speed falls apart a lot of times for a lot of people, even with Heat to a certain extent, is they try to incorporate a story, but they don't do a very good job.
Every time we try.
A lot of them are really, really cheesy and
They
really
made a
bad.
movie.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
There's a Need for Speed
And I'm
movie,
not,
guys.
I'm not saying that this one's like, this is AAA.
Yeah, there's still
storytelling.
some cringe stuff in the dialogue at least. Yeah.
But
I
actually
expected that.
I like my character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I like the. So I'm not gonna spoil anything. Like
The setup in this game is actually great.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I like the setup and the reason why I'm in a place where I need speed right now.
Yeah.
Feel the need.
The need
Yeah.
for speed.
You feel the need.
Yep.
So
they make that joke so quick. They're like,
Immediately.
we gotta get
They
this
didn't
out
get
of the way.
5 minutes into the dialogue, and they were like,
we gotta get this out of the way as soon as we can.
I feel the need.
That's what I
Need for
feel
what?
like they
Oh.
kind of impressed me, and I'm not saying they've never done it before. I just don't remember one being like where I was like, yeah, I really
The
want to
hook-
play this to
Yeah.
see where
I
this
agree.
goes. And they obviously have the hook for me. Again, I always say gameplay is king. I do enjoy the gameplay. The driving's a little. I have to get used to it. It took some time to get used to it because
Yeah, I was
I'd be
losing a
driving
lot
a-
of races at
yeah.
first.
I was driving races really good, and then I'd hit one turn and not do something right. I don't even remember what it was, and I would slide out, and I'm like, dude, I barely braked. What are you doing? And it's going all over the place. So I had to get used to the driving mechanics, but also people have to keep in mind you are leveling up your cars. Like that's the hook. That's what I like. Is you're going out, you're racing, you're doing all these little side things as well. They introduced a lot of side things so you're not just strictly racing and you're earning money to then pimp out your car to then eventually get a new car to then pimp out that car to eventually get a new car.
Yeah, that car is a different class that's going to get you into better races and yada yada, so on and so forth.
So I know Thomas said, I saw one of Thomas's posts in the group where he's like, I don't know how I feel about them locking you out of races. And I'm like, they should lock you out of races.
Yeah, I don't want to just cream people. Yeah.
The whole story of the game is that you're not a legit racer. You're trying to be a legit racer, and you can't get into races until A, you have the money, B, have a car that meets their criteria, and also you have game, like you have proof that you are legit. Then they'll bring you in. So I think they did a really good job because there's plenty of races that you don't even have to do a buy-in. And then there's plenty of races that you have to do a buy-in, but it's extremely cheap. It's not that expensive. Plus, you can place bets.
Side bets, dude. So the best mechanic to ever get added to the game, dude. Yeah,
I love
like
the bet.
you can just be like, you can look at like right before the race starts, you can approach any of the racers, which mind you are very memorable because the way that they're drawn, you're gonna remember their name and you're gonna attach it to their goofy, cartoon character that they're attached to, and then they have a very
them over and over.
Yeah, and then
so
they have a very
get to
specific
know them.
car, so they have a personality, they have a specific look and a specific car, and you get to know these people pretty intimately without there being like a lot of like dialogue, obviously, or like cutscenes and stuff like that. But like you, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He creamed me last time. I'm gonna make a side bet with this guy, and if I win or at least even finish before him, like I'll get money on the side that because we had this whole thing orchestrated here, and I love that mechanic quite a bit.
Yeah, there is risk to it because because they even tell you they're like before you place a bet, make sure you know who your opponent is.
Yeah.
And so I got cocky. They gave me 3 options to. Why am I still here? Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can totally hear you.
You're frozen, but
I don't know why. I got like a camera device changed to you. Yeah, that is what I'm using. I'm using a 2.0 camera. I don't know what's going on.
Skype doesn't know what it's saying. Skype's
So anyways, since you guys can hear me, I don't know why the video went away. But I went. This was in a little bit later race, probably 3 or 4 hours into the game, and I went, no, I'm gonna bet against the guy who's supposed to finish first. So they predict him to finish first. I'm like, I'm gonna bet to beat him at first, and I totally finished like third, which was still good. I still earned money for finishing third, but I ended up losing like over $500. So I think my winning prize was $5,000. To get into the race was $2,000. So you subtract $2,000 from the $5,000. So I only made $3,000, and then I had to pay him like $600. So I could have walked away with like $5,500, and instead I walked away with 3,000 or something, or 2,500 or something like that. So there is risk to it. Most of the bets I win, because some of them, this was the first one where he was in first. Most of them are like, she'll finish in third or fourth. And, even if you finish in third, she finishes fourth, you win the bet.
Yeah.
So,
right.
so it's an extra little risk and reward. I really like this game. Like I said,
I do
this
too,
is a
yeah.
game that I already like Need for Speed games, so I plan on playing this for a long time, but I don't always finish them. Like Heat, I got really far into Heat, but I never beat it. This game I could see myself going, but I actually care about the story, so I want to, unless the story gets completely stupid later, I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe I'll stop caring, but for right now, it's a nice little hook. It's something I would definitely do.
One of the main things, right when you jump into the game, that's very different than any Need for Speed game are the visuals.
Yeah.
We've gone full anime, guys. We've gone full Need for Speed anime.
Yeah. The vibes are anime for sure. Anime and rap culture.
West Coast animation style, like Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse and Arcane. Like that's what they're mimicking, is like the West Coast iteration, the West Coast version of anime, basically. Like
yeah.
And the game is very West Coast. Everybody talks like they're in California and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And the anime like comes from like the decals you're putting on your cars and stuff like that. Like, man, you can really, like, my car looks like it like was like anime threw up all over it. Like that's just what it looks like.
What the hell is that? Keep going.
And it's got Need for Speed underground levels of like, customizing your cars and stuff like that. And like they make a big deal of like, hey, make sure you show up to this like with your car tricked out. People are gonna make fun of you or whatever. And if you don't want to deal with any of that stuff, you can just download car wraps from the community, and people are really good at making cars, which is not unlike it's not unlike Forza, not unlike Gran Turismo and stuff like that. Like that same exact features in this, which is really awesome. But I've actually been making my own wraps and stuff like that, which is fun. Layering decals on top of each other. I spent like a whole hour doing that. I'm like, I literally haven't done this since Need for Speed Underground, So
wow.
I'm not trying to say this is as good as that, I think Underground's like the king of racers, arcade racers. It's still quite a mountain top to climb to beat that game. But like this game, vibe-wise, very much feels like that. It's really about the street racing scene. It's about street racing culture. Everything about the story is just about like owning the streets, and these are our streets, and that's another anime part about it. That's the same story as Initial D, where like racers start coming in on other kids and teams, like areas, and like it causes beef and stuff like that. So like it just feels like a nice love letter to that type of stuff as well. So
yeah,
I'm really enjoying this game a lot. Again, it's not going to win any voice acting or story writing awards, but the fact that like I care about kind of what I'm doing in a Need for Speed game, it's pretty nice. That feels good.
And I haven't played GT7 yet, but I have it downloaded and installed. But I haven't had any racers yet that have grabbed me, and this one is like, I'm still only an hour in because Midnight Suns is grabbing my attention more. But this one's definitely one that's like, there's potential here. Like I could definitely get sucked into this game for sure. It's really good so far.
I might bump this game on easy too. I don't care. Who's counting?
Definitely.
What are we trying to prove?
Honestly,
Easy is my default mode.
For guys like this, I'm not saying we shouldn't play things on normal and stuff like that. I don't mind hard games. Of course, I talk about Souls games.
None
and
of
stuff
us
like
do.
That. But we play a lot of, or most of us. I can't say all of us. We play a lot of games. I don't like wasting. That's why people are like, why do you get so frustrated with this game, but then you'll play Souls games? Because I already know in that experience, that's going to take over my life for months.
Yeah.
When I'm playing a story-driven game and all I care about is enjoying the gameplay, but also getting through the story. Like I want to see the story, and I want to say I beat and finished this game, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't mind dropping it down to easy. Like Callisto Protocol, there's no part of me that's like, well, can you prove yourself to the people who don't care that you can beat this on normal? No, like I just want to get through the game, and then if I like it enough, I'll replay it and I'll play it on normal.
Sometimes, like even for immersive purposes, like you're playing a character who's the master at what he does. He shouldn't be having any issues. You know what I mean? It's like Sifu's a good example of that. Like Sifu, I want to feel like I'm just laying waste to legions of dudes because like you're playing the greatest like martial artist dude to walk the earth. So it's like that's kind of so like sometimes putting something on easy can lean into that power fantasy, I guess is my point.
Oh,
so.
I'm definitely like that. I like to own things and absolutely obliterate them. So
Yeah, it
easy
feels
will
nice.
actually go.
Derek likes to fantasize about power.
Because I don't have it in real life.
None of us do. Yeah, none of us do.
Why do
The
you think I
1%
play?
is always winning.
Why do you think I play New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus? It's because
By
I'm
the
like,
way,
I
I've
love
been
it
here
when I'm
before.
OP.
as far as
I've been
Callisto
OP.
goes, they did reveal their DLC roadmap, and February 7th is when they're going to include the New Game Plus and a hardcore mode for the masochists, I
Oh,
guess.
jeez.
But that's going to be a free update to everybody. There is a season pass that's going to get you more cosmetic stuff, but and the animations, obviously the player death animations that everybody was talking about.
Locked behind the
so mad.
paywall.
Yeah,
So
locked
mad.
behind a paywall. It's just a season pass, guys. Just don't get it if you don't want it.
Well, it's
and
because it's attached
plenty
to
in
new
the game.
enemies. That's all it is. It's because there's new enemies, so there's different death animations because it's
Well,
new.
and they
enemies.
also said that like we didn't take out any animations from the game. We added more in, and there's a paywall to get those. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm fine with that.
And there's also more story content
Whatever.
expected in the summer, apparently. I don't know if that's behind season pass or if that's free too, but
It's
at
all
least
the
New Game Plus will be free.
conspiracy theorists that believe that they're smarter than the businesses. I'm not saying some developers, especially I believe EA did it in the past, where they'd be like, hard cut off on this part of the game, you end it here, and then we charge for DLC. We
That's
charge
happened.
for this.
Yeah,
That's
happened.
absolutely happened. So I understand the paranoia, but not everybody does that. Some people actually make an entire game and then go, okay, later we're gonna add stuff. We just want you to pay for it because we're kind of working on it.
You guys, you're now able to get the actual ending of Assassin's Creed Valhalla thanks to the newest update. All these years later, so yes, people do that. I don't want to silence conspiracy theorists who are like, well, the people are at those selling games aren't finished. You're right. You're being an asshole about how you're acting about it, but like, you're right. People are doing that. Because that's just the world that we live in. And
It is. People being assholes.
Well, and that too. Yeah.
That too. Yeah.
I
Speaking
mean,
of,
even like Dragon Age Inquisition, it had an ending, but if you actually go play the DLC,
It's more
they
of an ending.
actually give you
Yeah,
a more
it's a real ending.
satisfying, like fleshed out ending that you're like,
Mass
that
Effect
should have
3 the
been in
same
the
way.
game.
The DLC at the end of Mass Effect 3 is like the actual ending of the
The
game.
Citadel one.
oh,
the
the where you
Citadel.
hang out.
Yeah, where you hang out with all your dudes. Yeah.
Take a
So what were you
picture.
saying, Jeff?
I was going to say, speaking of games that were released, not finished, Nintendo Switch Sports, because it wasn't really released finished.
Oh yeah, right.
But I wanted to bring up, I wanted
finished
to
the fight.
transition to the golf update that they finally released. I think it was intended to be there at launch, and it should have been, in my opinion, because you can't just release a game with like 6 sports and golf isn't in there when that's like a staple of Wii Sports.
Yeah.
But
It has
anyway,
bowling though, right?
yeah, they had bowling
Yeah.
in there. They
Okay.
had tennis. They had, I think they had fencing. They had
Soccer.
badminton. I think they had
No,
badminton.
soccer was later.
Soccer was definitely in there. I haven't played it though. But
I thought it was later.
I can't remember if that was at launch or not. But golf they just added, and that is man, they've added some stuff to it to make me terrible. They added a you can curve your shot now, and I don't remember the ability to do that in the Wii Sports.
It's because they didn't have HD Rumble. They didn't have HD.
Right? That's what it was, man. It's the HD
Rumble.
Rumble.
No high definition Rumble.
So like you can just move your wrist a little bit before a shot, and it curves it. But the
Wow.
thing is, it's so sensitive. Like
Sure.
so it's ruining like 80% of my shots. and there is a reset shot button and stuff, but I mean it just makes me a worse golfer. So like I first I was like, okay, let's just do 18 holes because that's a full game. I got to the 10th one and I was already at like plus whatever 20, like over. Like I was doing terrible. So I was like, all right, I get it. It's golf. It's great, but like I'm so terrible with these new mechanics.
Well, it's also like you're not
actually
actually
sit there and
golfing.
do practice shots like the whole time. So yeah, I'm just doing it one-handed, even though the game tells you to use both hands to simulate golf. I just do it one-handed because it's a video game. Who cares?
Yeah, it's just not going to translate.
That's called not following the rules, dude.
And that's why you're missing your shots. They know that you're only using one hand.
Yeah, they know. It's like for you
Miyamoto
out there.
They're intentionally slicing it. They're like,
that's technically true because if I had used the other hand, then I would not be I wouldn't be curving my wrist as much, and that's totally what she said, or I said about myself. Whatever. Anyway,
whatever you need to do, buddy. Whatever gets you through the day.
Yeah, it's a fun addition, and that's all I wanted to mention. And then Dark Tide I played the prologue of, and it's it's intended to be a 4-player like horde shooter for the Warhammer franchise, kind of like a Left 4 Dead, but there's more story involved and stuff like that. And the shooting the Left 4 Dead shooting is just tops for that type of game. This game is not. The shooting feels a little sluggish. So I mean,
which
that's
is interesting because in Warhammer everything is like heavy, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if like that is in juxtaposition of
maybe
the
so.
gameplay type.
I didn't choose a fast.
I'm trying to think of
so.
if Vermintide was like
because they have those
weighty
huge
too.
suits,
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's playing as one of the Space Marines, but but that's what I mean by a lot of things in Warhammer are weighty because everything's like a big gun or a big this, a big that. You know?
Yeah.
It also could just be actually sluggish, and it has nothing to do with.
It's just how it felt. At least that's the one character that I chose, and that was like just a regular ass Marine sharpshooter. That's who I chose.
I think he'd probably be pretty fast at shooting. So.
And yeah, exactly. You would think the gun that you would pick up would just shoot a little faster. Instead, it's like pound. And I'm like, this is a horde game. Come on, man, spray them. You know.
Is that what it sounds like?
But yeah, it sounds a little weak and stuff like that. And it also doesn't look that. I'm running it on PC. It's on PC Game Pass, on Xbox Game Pass. So it should look amazing, but it just looks a little rough. Okay. But whatever. It's more, if you like the Warhammer franchise, it's not gonna like make you hate the franchise suddenly. I've just never played any of those games before, so this is like my first foray.
I heard it. I don't know if there's been reviews. I heard it was good. That was the only reason
why
I was interested.
I've heard crazy good things about it, but that's also from people who play Warhammer games. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet people that play Warhammer games regularly, like including like whatever Total War was, like those totally different genre games, they're probably going to love this shit.
Well, there's people out there. There's you who picked up that gun and was shooting really slow, and then there's other people who picked up that gun, see what it is, and go, "Oh, this is a slow shooting gun. I know this gun from the universe."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, so for you, it's like,
and again,
but for other people, like,
yeah,
this is exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, like that's just the prologue of the story, of the single player story. Like, it could obviously open up to way more options once I'm out of the prison I started in. So
it
yeah,
looks
I
like
just need to
it's a
play
normal.
I haven't uninstalled it at all.
I know
so,
Bruce
I'm
and Raul and Luana and Jacob and all those like Funhouse like adjacent people all like are like goo for Gaga over this particular game. So we're playing it in the early
swimming in 70s or 7s.
Yeah, and that's what I think Vermintide 2 was like reviewed really well, but like the first Vermintide was like a cult classic that was like 7 or 8, you know, like 7 or 8 out of 10 that people really liked, and then got a sequel that was like out of this world, you know. So it might be one of those things too, where it's like, the first game's a little shaky when it comes out.
I can't really just afford to jump into like this.
And that's a game that you crew up for a game like that. Like that's all online, and everyone is playing their classes. So it's like your guy is like good at like shooting things, but there's supposed to be a big ogre guy that's supposed to be in there like crowd controlling everybody and running in and meleeing and taking aggro and stuff like that. So it's like that's another game that's like it hinges on like how good are the strangers they put you with, or how good your crew is, you know, of your buddies, and that's not always fun either. To like to like where your fun's like on hold, you know, depending on you know the immediate you know goodness of your team. So
I'll just have to play more of it and circle back with you guys. I'll have to do a deep dive or whatever the phrase is.
It's kind of like with Back 4 Blood.
We did some digging on.
I have to do some digging by playing it
and
more.
It's definitely a swimming in 7s game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes those games, it's like with Back 4 Blood. Like I had played with like you guys like maybe once, and it's like it's fun when you have friends to play with, but then otherwise it's like, not that interesting.
I beat the entire campaign by myself. I love it.
I went through the entire campaign with my gaming crew, and that was really great. But the second they were like, we beat all those levels, I was like, let's go back and play it. And they're like, nah. I'm like, okay.
Guess I'm done here.
Yeah, like just whatever. Also, another game that like has like cards in it that I was just like, ugh, why are you putting cards in this game? And but by the end of that, I was still like, why did they make these cards? Like it still didn't feel good. Whereas Midnight Suns, it's like, oh, that just actually works. This feels good.
I don't completely understand the card system in Back 4 Blood. There's certain like
just treat them like items and augments.
Yeah, that's the only thing I understand.
Stop thinking about cards, you know. And
all right, cool. So I think that's everything games wise that's new. Do we want to say for Pinocchio for the end of that segment? Is Pinocchio the most interesting thing on this watching list?
I would say Violent Night because that's like brand new. Pinocchio hasn't come out to Netflix yet. It comes out. I saw it early, so it comes out like December, closer to Christmas. I could talk
So
about it then.
Do you want to give us like a general thoughts on that and not, I mean, it's Pinocchio. Nobody knows the story of Pinocchio, right?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it is a story of Pinocchio, but it is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, so that means he included like the rise of fascism in Italy in the story. Like it's he includes like real life like themes that could be applied to the story, and it's certainly better. I would say this is like obviously the definitive version of Pinocchio that came out this year, because Disney released one with Tom Hanks and it was ass. It was so terrible.
And more based off of their anime version, right?
We're gonna talk about.
No, this one is stop motion, kind of like I guess a good comparison would be like Nightmare Before Christmas type style, but it's still it's not like so gothic. It's still like a little bit brighter in colors and stuff.
But this is more based off of the book as opposed to Disney's like live action.
Familiar with the book, but does the book start with like does Geppetto like immediately lose his son and then try to replace him with Pinocchio or something?
That I'm not
I don't
sure.
know anything about.
Oh, okay.
It.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Disney's usually they put their own sort of Disney twist on their thing, and obviously then the live action.
Hunchback of Notre Dame happened just like that, just like.
Okay, well, my mistake.
No, that story is way more screwed up.
Well, so I guess
that's why I'm like, why did y'all choose that story and make it Disney-fied? That's a horrible story.
Well, this is more. I guess would be. Fall in line with whatever the old folk story is of Pinocchio, because there's definitely like it starts with Geppetto experiencing a tragedy, and then he, in his drunkenness creates Pinocchio. And so like there's like actual adult themes going on here too,
right.
On top of the wholesome stuff that Pinocchio takes part in. Like he still joins a circus run by a problematic guy who's like kind of a dick, and like Christoph Waltz voices that guy, by the way. It's great. It's a great cast. By the way, Kate Blanchett voices like a cat or some shit. It's hilarious because it's literally like a character that just makes noises and doesn't say anything. I'm like, Kate Blanchett said yes to that. That's crazy.
It's like when they got George Clooney to do Sparky the dog in South Park.
It's South Park. Yeah, run.
Park.
That's so random.
Yeah, he was not allowed to say a real word. He just came on set to say bark.
All right.
Yeah, it's just so funny. But yeah, it was great, man. Seeing it in the theater really helped sell the magic of the movie. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year for sure. I think people are really going to like it when it comes out to Netflix. And
so the visuals are good as far as the stop animation / CG or whatever it is.
Yeah, the combo mix, I guess.
Yeah. So it's well done.
Yeah, super well done. I would watch a documentary on the making of that in a heartbeat, because it seems like it's one of those like Kubo and the Two Strings type of Leica movies or whatever, where it's like Coraline, like it just feels like there's people, you can tell that there are people that on set moving the dolls a little bit with their hands and then filming it and then moving it a little bit again.
That's so insane.
I know,
dude. Like I just can't possibly imagine the patience for that. Like,
yeah, I know. I would hate my life if that were my job. I don't understand how people. You really do have to have a passion for doing something like that, because it takes so.
What'd you do today, honey? We shot 5 seconds of a movie over the course of 18 hours.
Kind of like when Ben Wyatt has that.
Yes.
Epiphany over Tuesday afternoon.
And then play with.
He's like, I spent all day on this.
I called Leslie and I compared it to Avatar. God.
So I mean, it's I love it. It's award bait crap, so it's gonna win the Oscar for best whatever animated whatever feature. So I love that type of stuff. Maybe it just resonates with me, but I feel like this is more of a universal movie that everybody can like.
It aesthetically definitely caught my eye for sure, because I mean, Del Toro has a style with his movies. He has a whole way about the way he makes his movie, like Pan's Labyrinth, for example.
Yeah,
visually so much really cool stuff going on there. And then he's made. I need to catch up with some Del Toro movies, because what was it? What was the water one? Lady in the Water.
Shape of Water.
Thank you. I haven't seen that one. Like I wanted to.
Picture winner.
Yeah,
where a girl totally screws a fish man, and it's
that movie is literally like when people go, hey, that movie's that movie where that girl has sex with a fish guy, and you're like, oh yeah, I bet there's more going on though. That movie is literally about, and I mean that in a good way. I don't mean that like in a like criticizing way. That's exactly what you're getting in that movie. So.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for it.
She bangs that fish, dude.
Yeah, there's like thematic layers, and I love those in the movie. But like, yes, definitely.
There's a lot of subtext in that movie. There's layers to it, whatever. But that is the story of that movie.
That is the main story, absolutely. And Nightmare Alley is great too, but that's more of a I would call that a subdued Del Toro, even though that movie is
Nightmare Alley
pretty dark. Yeah,
It's like one of my favorite.
but it's more of a straightforward drama, and it's more like a thriller, I guess. And it's more about like look at the set design, and it's not so much like Pan's Labyrinth or fish fucking movie. It's not so much like that visually or conceptually. Like it's more of a human story.
And that cast, well, all of his casts are always really good. But
Oh yeah, everybody wants to
work
work with them.
That's great. It's just crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, everybody. Every time somebody shows up, I'm like, they're in this too. It's one of those casts. So Violent Night was the main new movie that came out this week that I just loved, dude. I loved it so much. It's a really dumb premise where David Harbour plays Santa Claus, and he gets stuck in a Die-Hard situation where he is delivering these toys somewhere to this house that gets like taken over by these whatever we want to call them, terrorists, guys with guns, bad guys.
Sure.
And he gets kind of stuck there. His reindeer like run off, and he gets stuck there like, oh crap, I don't really want to help these people. I don't know them. He's kind of disenchanted with the whole idea of being Santa. He feels everybody's being ungrateful. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Everybody's tied.
He's not wrong.
But there's a little girl that's involved that's part of the family that's being taken hostage that he like feels for. She's on the nice list, all this stuff. So he's like, cool.
Sounds like pedophilia.
I'm gonna hey bro.
Jesus Christ. God damn, did you have to drop the P word? Did you have to drop it?
Now we're banned on thanks, man.
We're in a database.
Word. But he's this version of Santa used to be like a badass before he became Santa, so like he's having to tap into his old
Spec Ops
life. His old life to get more violent and start killing people. And so like this is like an ode to Die Hard and Home Alone, but Home Alone in a sense where it's what if the traps from Home Alone started killing people for real, like they should in those movies. Like all those traps that Kevin set for Joe Pesci and them, they should have been dead by like trap 2. But so this movie like explores like what if those traps actually affected people in a real way, and it's like some of the funniest scenes in the movie are involving like this little girl setting up traps, and the bad guys are like, these are stupid. We can see these traps. They're stupid. And then of course they get violently like violently hit by them. Yeah, it's like really funny.
It's a fun concept.
And the dialogue's really funny too. Like you have so many characters calling out how dumb it is, like that it's an actual Santa, like a real Santa Claus is like fighting back. It's very aware. Like John Leguizamo's in it. He's like the main bad guy, and he's perfect because he can sell it. He can sell the crap out of this concept. I'm trying to remember. There's somebody else. I don't know. Anyway, it's really funny. It's just highly enjoyable, really funny, R-rated comedy. Really violent. Probably one of my favorite holiday Christmas movies that have come out in like this era, this generation, that I can think of. I can't think of any others that have hit that mark. You know?
What about the Seth Rogen one from like a couple years ago?
That was fine, like it's fine. I'm Jewish. What am I doing here?
I'm wearing a Hanukkah sweater.
Exactly.
It's good. That's good.
I have no idea what you are talking about, but you're selling me on it.
This is so good, and I can't wait for everybody to see it when it comes to Peacock in like the spring when it's not Christmas anymore.
Sure.
Because I assume it'll be there. It's a Universal movie, so I assume it'll be on Peacock eventually. Like I think was it Nope or Derek's favorite movie of the year, Bros.
Bros. Yeah. Was it Bros? Yeah.
Yeah,
bro.
Gotta watch it, dude. It's so.
It is on Peacock.
Alpha.
It is on Peacock. Yep, absolutely.
It is.
They should have called it Alpha Bros. They should have called it Alpha Bros.
You're not a real alpha until you kiss a dude on the lips, okay?
I've actually done that, so I'm an alpha.
Oh, well, there you go. Just to prove his point, he did it. Just to prove his point.
It's kind of like you remind me of Mark Wahlberg and the other guys, where he makes fun of things that are viewed as gay, but he will do those things.
Right.
Absolutely.
First,
like the dancing scene, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think I can't do this, and then he does like this amazing ballet dance.
Oh man, that movie.
Movie's amazing. The only other movie I wanted to mention was Senior. This is it's on Netflix. It's a documentary Robert Downey Jr. did about his dad, who is a director, actor. I think he started doing it because he sensed his dad got Parkinson's, and he was like, I don't know how much time we have left. And so his dad did actually pass last year. So like as they were filming, and that's part of the movie. And it's just a really good watch, man. I'm a sap for these type of sentimental family documentaries and stuff. And Robert Downey Jr. is just a joy to watch. He's so close to being Tony Stark. It's not even funny. Like it's just how quick he is on his feet and stuff.
Oh yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
They put him in that role. Like he is that person basically.
Yeah, he is that person. Yeah.
It's kind of like that's I think why he's such a good Iron Man, Tony
Yeah.
Stark, is because it's a lot like Ryan Reynolds. Like Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool, but then when he stops playing Deadpool, he's still Deadpool.
He's
Like
still
that's
got
yeah,
just-
still a bit of
yeah.
Very
Deadpool.
much
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
It's just who
He's
he
just
is.
chaotic. He's chaotic comedy. You know.
Right.
You put him
Right.
in front of a camera, that's his humor.
Yeah.
That's how
And you
he acts.
see in this documentary, you see where Robert Downey Jr. gets it from, because his dad, even at his old age with Parkinson's,
Quick.
he's still hilarious. Like he's
Yeah.
so funny. And
I
seeing them
might
together,
actually
you're like, oh, you see
watch
this.
that just because I'm a big Robert Downey Jr. fan.
Yeah,
So
that's what led me
I
to it.
appreciate
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
good.
I didn't even know his dad had Parkinson's, so that's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad to see it in action for sure. I think his dad was like 80, so it's not like he had a short life, but it still
Oh, that's
sucks to
good.
see anybody go through that. I mean, you see Michael J. Fox has been the most public figure to have it happen
It's
to.
rough.
And you saw it at the beginning where it wasn't that bad, and occasionally he would have to pause an interview to succumb to the trembles. But now it's like he just can't stop. He can't
Yeah.
stop moving around in any scenario. It's so
Yeah.
freaking hard. for him.
My pastor's dad, who used to be my pastor as well, but he had to step down because he got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He actually had to have brain surgery because it was so bad.
Wow.
He wouldn't be able to. Sometimes he wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to go to church, or he'd be
Oh,
in
wow.
church and he'd have to leave because he couldn't even sit because he would just be going crazy. So
It's a crazy
defi-
disease, dude. Yeah.
yeah, that is one that
Lucky one.
like when it impacts you, it impacts you in a big way.
And I would be in the same, like, if it were like hitting me that point, it'd be like, of course I want to do brain surgery. What's left? Just let it kill me. Like, yeah, I mean, I get being that desperate to do something like that, even if it's
Like-
Oh yeah, because
even
he's
if it might
lived
not
with
work.
it for probably the last 15, 20 years. So that's the other thing. It's not like something that hits you when you're like 75, 80 years
Yeah.
old. It's something like I think he was
Um,
in his late 40s.
Well, how
Yeah.
old was he when he was on what was that show? Is it Spin City?
You talking about Michael J.
Yes.
Fox? Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
J.
Michael
He
Fox.
left
Yeah,
Charlie
because
Sheen
it was
replaced
around
him,
there,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left because of the diagnosis. Yeah.
Yes,
Didn't he?
because that was a
That
successful
was the 90s.
show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was he had to
He's
been
had
30 or
it for
40?
like
By
yeah,
the
he's
time
had
he
it for,
showed
like,
up
30
just
years.
like 6 short years later on Scrubs, like he had it full blown. Like he was already shaky, like on
Yeah.
like, so not full blown, but it took
Noticeable.
years for it to start
Yeah.
like being able to notice it.
And
on
then he
somebody.
did his own show for like a season where he had a family and stuff, and he just let himself have Parkinson's on the show, and it was part of
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of his character, and he would make some jokes about it and stuff. That was his way of dealing with it. Terrifying disease, dude. That and ALS are just like in dementia. Like holy
ALS,
shit.
any of the ones where you basically become entombed in your own body are the scary
Yeah,
ones. for
pretty
me.
much. Yeah. And obviously in the MS or whatever version of MS, I guess ALS is a version of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a
I
great
don't-
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna
can
go hug my
add
mom
on
after this.
to
Yeah.
a couple of things. I don't usually watch a lot of stuff, but there's a couple things that I did watch. I watched Black Adam. I actually
I did
watched
too.
it
I
right
watched
at-
that too. Yeah.
I watched it too. Yeah.
I liked it.
I thought it was fine.
Maybe my biggest problem in life is my expectations are too low, and so I enjoy things.
That was my
But
thing
I
with that
went
movie.
into-
Yeah. I thought I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
hate
just
it.
went
Yeah.
into it.
I thought I
going-
was gonna hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was
Oh,
gonna
that
be
was fun.
dumb, but I was like, oh, all I want is action. So if you give me
There
good
are things that bothered me about the movie, but the things I took away from it at the end of it was like he killed a lot of people in that movie, and it was hilarious every time.
I
he
liked
did it.
how they did it when
Yeah.
when some of the guys were like, you don't have to do that, and he's like,
Yeah, I do.
What I do.
Whatever, bro.
He's just
like, maybe
indifferent.
you
He's
know.
just like whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, bro.
I do think
is
they
not-
should have
and-
gone all in and just made it rated R, but
Me too.
Yeah.
Apparently
yeah,
there
that's-
was a version of it, and this is like we're done headlines. This is not a
yeah.
spoiler, but like the grenade in the guy's mouth thing. In the original version, like that stays in his mouth and it just blows up his head or whatever. But to
Yeah.
get it knocked down to PG-13 it was what I heard is they had to take
Yeah,
that
he
scene out.
removed.
So.
He had a moment where he removed it, and he was
Yeah,
like,
but he
"What's
still
this?"
blows up.
Yeah.
It still blows up right in his face, but for whatever reason, having it in his mouth was like too much for the board.
Yeah,
you
too
know?
much. Too much.
And like it was fun. I thought it was way more fun. It has a dumb kid that just annoys me the entire time in that movie. I hate that
yeah,
kid so
like
much.
a kid who acts like he's not
He's giving-
scared, even though he's, in
he's
a
giving him
absolutely
superhero
terrifying
advice. I'm like, no, I'm not in any of
And
this.
I don't buy this. Yeah.
And by the end of it, like it becomes so much about him. Like I'm just like, nope, no.
Oh yeah, when he has a
no.
rally the troops moment, even though that ended up not mattering at all.
Nope.
Like,
Dude, that's like in Transformers, like where it's like they have the human characters. It's like, listen, I don't care. I just want to see robots.
We need to be in a place where we can just tell superhero stories without there being annoying boots on the ground civilians.
Yes,
like I really don't like that. Like I'm so tired of like them being interjected. Like Marvel does a really good job of like making you care about Darcy, the best friend who has quips and one-liner. Like they do a better job of doing like the human stuff, but like I would argue Marvel in general, like even the comic books have an easier time writing humans. But like DC, like your stories are about gods and superpowers and stuff like that. Like I don't give a crap about anybody that is not superpowered in these stories.
Yes.
Please don't make them the moral compass of your movie. Please don't make them the big third act thing of your movie. I don't care.
The moral compass is skewed in the movie anyway because they're very pro. They make a point to be like, well, murder's fine in some cases. Like,
by the end of it, that's the message of the movie is that like sometimes you have to murder somebody to get something done. I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Like, because too many movies end where it's like you lose yourself if you cross that line, and like this was not about that at all. This was like sometimes you need a little darkness to fight the darkness,
Yeah.
And I actually like that message quite a bit.
So I enjoyed that one, and then right after that, I actually watched Bullet Train again, which it was phenomenal again.
I need to
but the other thing,
it's on Netflix, super easy to watch.
I know, and I freaking bought it. I bought it because my sons were here, so I bought it for $10. It was on sale, and then I logged into Netflix like 3 days later. I'm like,
I know.
When do they ever get year of movies that are that like that almost never happens anymore? So it's
know this feels like the biggest one they've secured that's like third party, so to speak.
Yeah,
but I don't care because I do like to own things, and Bullet Train is one of those movies where I'm like,
with you.
I
like a movie,
I'll
buy it.
I will watch this
fun.
again. I've already seen it twice. I'll watch it again. But the other thing I watched, just real quick, I finally, because I do have Netflix now, I finally finished the final season of The Last Kingdom. So I like plowed through the first 4 seasons like 3 years ago. I got hooked on it, and then they dropped the 5th season, which is the final season. And then because I haven't had Netflix, I haven't watched it. So I finally got through it. It's good. Like it does a great job of wrapping up everything. My only issue is, and maybe I just don't remember because it was so long ago, is the level of cheese and some terrible CGI and things like that. It's still good. It's still entertaining. It has some shaky acting for sure. And dialogue definitely has some shaky dialogue. But overall, I thought as a series, all 5 seasons were well done, and the 5th season finished it off. Like it had closure on a bunch of scenarios.
We're not waiting for a movie after the fact, or
I thought this is one of them that they are making a movie. I can't remember.
Are they?
Yeah. Tim said they are making a movie.
Okay.
I don't know why. I felt like it literally closed everything off. Maybe I missed something, but I'm sure that it's based off real life stuff. There's real characters. It's all based off. It's clearly loosely based by the way they play it all out. But I'm sure there's more to the story that I didn't know about in the history books. So they're probably going to draw from that for a movie. But I thought it was, if somebody's looking for that type of show, like a Vikings versus Christian shows, Danes versus Christian show, it's really well done, and it's got a lot of gray, so it's not black and white where it's Danes versus England, or Christians. It's you kind of mesh them all together, and you start to blur the lines of like whose side are you really on. And so I thought they did a real good job of that. But I'm just glad I finally got through that. I like that I'm now starting to knock things off. The next thing on my list is The Witcher 3 Season 2, and then I'll immediately go into Season 3 once it releases. So, but yeah, good stuff.
But the actual bad guys in that show are definitely the Christians, right? I mean,
of course, I hate Christians. I've always hated Christians. I went to church today, by the way.
Well, there you go. Peace be with you.
Also with you. That one.
So
actually, though, you say that, but it's actually true. I'm sitting here watching the show again. I know it's not completely accurate, but I'm a Christian. I'm watching it. And I'm going, yeah, man. We were pretty bad. I mean, we're still pretty bad.
We screwed that one up. Yeah.
We did a lot. There's a lot of things like I see in. I don't want to get like too political or religious, but I think you guys would agree with what I see. I see a lot of things in that show where a lot of it was Christians trying to control worldly people to believe what they believe, and the way they went about it is control and violence. Modern day, my issue with Christianity is they want to, a lot of them, not all of us, because I'm definitely not that way. They want to control, but it's not with violence now. We don't do violence anymore. It's more with just condemnation and constant like beating people over their head because and sending them to hell, and all those things. So
Yeah.
I don't think we've gotten much better, is what I'm trying to say. Especially if you read the Bible, you'll realize we're kind of off. So that's where people who aren't Christians can actually sit down and have a good conversation with me because I don't get offended. Like if they're like, I hate Christianity, I hate your God, I hate all that, I'm like, good, tell me why. Let's talk it through. And they'll find out that I hate a lot of the things that they hate. So yeah, I have some real issues. So when I was watching the show, I was like, wow, we were pretty bad. And the funny thing is they're all doing it in the name of God, which is the same thing the Danes were doing it. They were doing everything in the name of their God. So it's just like how delusional a lot of people are when they create these belief systems and then they do these wild and crazy things because they believe it. So
people are crazy when they believe things very heavily,
Yeah.
It excuses what they want to do.
They covered that in the new Indiana Jones trailer.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not about it being real. It's about how much people believe it.
You know what? You know what's easy to believe is a nuke going off and you being in a fridge and everything is fine.
I don't know what you're talking about because
that movie never happened.
That movie never happened.
So is Jeff the only one that's seen Willow, or has anyone else seen Willow, the show?
I might have been the only one, and I don't know if anybody else has seen the movie. I haven't.
Years ago.
Never seen the movie.
Years.
Yeah. So like, I didn't know. I always wrote off Willow and what's the other one? Dark Crystal. I always wrote them off as like, oh, they're meant for kids because they're in the 80s and they look corny, but like they're very geared. Like there's some adult themes and
I probably shouldn't have been watching it. I don't remember a lot of the movie, but I think maybe my parents were watching it and I was in the room. But I know I've seen the movie. It's just it was a long time ago.
And the reason I bring that up is because this show does have like when it gets violent, I'm like, did they just decapitate that person? Like it's just like
where is this show on?
This is on Disney Plus. Yeah, this is a Willow's like a Lucasfilm. I think they own it. I think that's how it ended up on Disney because Disney bought Lucasfilm. But yeah, this is got the same dude from the movie. Warwick Davis is back. Val Kilmer was like the human, I guess. But obviously he's not available anymore for acting, unfortunately. Another sad, tragic story there. Yeah, it's a great start so far. Like I felt like the humor has been working, I'm surprised at like how geared towards adults it is. Like it's just like that type of fantasy show that I'm like, oh, it's kind of like another Rings of Power type situation. Tonally, not like quality wise, but like tonally.
But on Disney,
exactly. But it's on Disney.
Oh, so you're saying that this show has a racial agenda that is about because you said it's like Lord of the Rings.
It is getting review bombed because there's a gay storyline. It is getting review bombed. Yeah.
How dare they?
And it's not even like
people
just first Andor, now Willow. What's going on here, guys?
It's almost like this kind of thing has just always existed, but people just don't want to accept it.
Disney's adding it like it's normal or something. Out of control.
Anyway, great start, and I'm excited to see more. Having no experience with the original movie, that's kind of surprising to me. I really thought I would just be like, whatever.
Yeah, it's week to week.
2 episodes on Disney Plus.
No. I'm saying the original movie. Do they have it on Disney Plus?
I think so.
It is,
okay.
It is.
All right. So you can go back
because I'm watching it this week because I want to get on the show. So.
Oh, okay. Do we know how many episodes this is going to be? Or?
I'm not certain. 8 or 10.
Okay. Let me check.
I don't know if it's going to be a mini series or not, or if they're going to keep going. Kind of like Andor is supposed to be like a mini series, like
Isn't Andor just supposed to be 2?
Yeah, it's
There are 8 episodes of Willow's 8 episodes. The finale airs January 11th. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Man, it looks like there's been a lot of turnover too in terms of who was involved in the show. That's very interesting.
A lot of turnover, huh?
Yeah, like they fired a lot of directors and replaced stuff. I didn't realize that.
That's always
I didn't realize there was drama around that. That's
behind the scenes drama.
Apparently, it's really hard to hire for like TV shows right now. The Andor guy is like, I'm having a really hard time finding directors for season 2 right now because everybody is doing a project because there's so many TV series out there.
Yeah.
And and like
so many big ones.
That list of like good writers, directors, like it might be a pretty big list, but if everyone's doing a TV show right now and they want those people on that list or whatever, it's hard to get really talented people right now to do TV.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
Everyone's busy. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we have, unless anything else new that we can think of. No, we're good.
I got nothing.
Okay. All right, cool. Do we want to do headlines and then finish off with stuff that we're whatever things to watch?
What headlines do we have?
There aren't. I think the most interesting thing to me has been the movie trailer stuff or the TV show trailers.
Let's just go over the movie trailer stuff.
Yeah, you guys discuss movie trailers.
For some reason, I don't know if this was all because of Brazil Comic Con, but like, how have there been this much news and trailers breaking from that? It's crazy to me. Anyway, but yeah, there was like a Super Mario Brothers movie trailer, another one. I think it's a longer one. The first one was more of a teaser, right? And this one is more like, here's what the story is. Here's more of the characters. We got to hear Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess Peach and Charlie Day's Luigi, and both actually fit. Like on paper, I was like, this isn't gonna work, and it worked in the trailer at least. And then he showed.
To hear Chris Pratt at all?
I don't recall hearing much more of him.
He only talked like one time in the original.
You hear him a little more in this trailer, and he definitely sounds Brooklyn in this.
He does, yeah. And Charlie Day just sounds like Charlie Day as Luigi, but it works. Like when Bowser was intimidating him, I was like,
he might be elongating the A in the Mario, like Mario, like so. It's like there might be a cadence of like kind of Brooklynite, speech or whatever.
Yeah. I did like the inclusion of Rainbow Road stuff. I didn't even think that they would include Mario Kart stuff in the movie.
But there's like Smash Brothers stuff too, where it's like Donkey Kong and Mario were standing on this platform and fighting. Like that's Super Smash Brothers. That's all that is.
Yeah, see, I gotta watch the trailer again because there were some details that I missed. But yeah, I just like the inclusion of pretty much all the video game lore in the movie. I was very surprised by that. I thought it would just be kind of like a traditional Mario movie where he's just going through levels, kind of like Odyssey or whatever.
Yeah,
but instead they're including kart. Smash
I went from I don't care to okay, like
exactly. I'm like more sold on it the more I see on it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go see it day one. Like, exactly. I don't have kids. So I'll wait for the parents to take their kids and then I'll watch it later.
Dollar theaters still existed, I would be abusing it for movies like this for sure.
Yeah.
They don't anymore. They replaced the one near me with what do they call it?
Movie theater.
Not dollar first run showings, I guess they call it. But yeah, then they had a Transformers Rise of the Beast trailer. They have gorilla Transformers now, guys. They are a real thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. The movie looks fun. Great. I think the Transformer design kind of looks more like the old Transformer design and not so much the Michael Bay design.
Is this part of the reboot verse? Or...
I think so.
And is the reboot verse a sequel or is it a reboot sequel?
I think it's a sequel to the reboot. The Bumblebee reboot. So like,
yeah, but was that a sequel reboot or was that just a hard reboot?
I think so. It depends actually. So Bumblebee's logic when they made the movie was this is going to be a reboot of the Transformers franchise, but if it doesn't do well, here's a scene to tie into the Michael Bay stuff, just in case. So like they threw in a scene to tie into the Michael Bay stuff.
At the end.
They did. They didn't think it would be successful, but it did get successful. So this is a sequel to the reboot, and just ignore the Michael Bay tie-in stuff. And I think this takes place in the 90s. And you can tell like the Optimus Prime design just looks more like the cartoon.
And some of the transformations didn't look like a cacophony of like bullshit. Like, mechanical parts like going everywhere.
Whereas in the first Transformers movie, I had that complaint right from the beginning. I was like, "What's happening?" Like I was just like, I can't see.
Yeah, well, especially when they started fighting, I'm like, I don't even, I don't know what's going on at all.
But apparently, the animal stuff, like the gorillas stuff, apparently that is like a comic or a cartoon arc in the Transformers world. I'm not familiar with any of that stuff. I'm
the animal stuff. Isn't it Beast Wars? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. My knowledge,
Beast Wars is something different.
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no freaking clue. But my knowledge ended at like Megatron, and that's about it. Like that's the only villain I was aware of.
I know Starscream. That's
Starscream, and then Soundwave. Is he one of them too? Is he one of the bad guys?
He might be good. I don't know.
But anyway, it looks fun. It's you know, it looks like more Transformers, but a little bit like slightly better, like a design wise. Who knows? Who
I
knows?
dropped off those.
Same. I didn't
movies.
see the last one that you keep on saying is good.
Bumblebee's
so
really good. Yeah,
I didn't even watch it.
I did
so.
watch that one,
Yeah.
but I didn't watch any of the ones.
neither.
I think I watched maybe the original trilogy. I may have gotten to the third one.
You
I
know
got
and then
one
I
with-
dropped off.
Wherever the one where they had the big fight in Detroit. That's as far as I got.
You know what? I
Original
did. I
series.
think I did. Some of it might have been against my will, but I did actually watch all the Michael Bay Transformers movies, and I think he did 5 of them. But the last one I watched might have been the Last Night one, and I think that was the last one he did, and that was the one with
So there's one with there's one with
where they just
dinosaurs
change
in
the
it.
lore entirely and they don't give a crap. And I think that is the one with dinosaurs.
And then
I
there's
think.
the one with Mark Wahlberg in it, right? Those
Yeah,
are just-
both Mark Wahlberg's in both the Last Night.
Oh,
and-
is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's in the 4th one where where his girlfriend's boyfriend has to explain over statutory rape laws or whatever. Like, it's such a weird scene.
Yeah. I remember that being
I don't even remember the name of that movie, but I did see the Last Night one. And that one was because I was in upstate New York for like a wedding or something, and there was nothing else on TV. And I was like, all right, I'd never seen this. Let's watch this. I watched like an hour of it, and I was like, this is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. So like, I made the right call having ignored it for so many years, and whoops. But Bumblebee is actually quite good. But that's
Do they
Michael
talk
Bay's
about where
fault.
Sam Witwicky went in Bumblebee? Because if not, I don't want to watch it.
No, because it takes place in the 80s, so they were able to ignore a lot of stuff, a lot of that stuff. But yeah, anyway, I'm curious at least about this one. Kind of like I feel the same way about this as I do about Super Mario Brothers movie. Like it's like I'll see it eventually, but it doesn't look like crap as much as I thought it would. But yeah, the Disney stuff they revealed: Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and then there's the Guardians, the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. Both were really good.
I have to constantly catch myself about Indiana Jones because like I'll talk about the non-existent 4th one like in the way that Star Wars fans talk about Star Wars that I hate and rip on so much. So I have to like catch myself sometimes where I'm like, that movie doesn't exist and blah blah blah. But I'm mostly jesting, you know.
Yeah.
But with that baggage of not liking that movie, I thought this trailer was fantastic. I was pretty much all in on this entire trailer.
I agree. It was a lot of fun. I was actually in the studio when it dropped, and my producer had actually mentioned it the day before. He was like, "Oh man, they're doing an Indiana Jones," and he was so freaking hyped. So as soon as I mentioned, "Oh, they dropped a trailer," he was like pausing in the middle of mixing, and he was like, "Let's pull it up," and he pulled it up on the big monitor. It was a cool way to watch a trailer, dude. It was very cinematic on his big speakers, and yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And James Mangold might be the right choice for it because I think
He's
George
really good at sending
George
off
and-
characters, you know.
I think Lucas and Spielberg are both not involved in this outside of maybe just financial gain.
We saw what happened last time.
Right. I mean, South Park, you know, made it very clear what happened last time.
Yeah.
They turned it into The Accused.
Yeah, big time.
But yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, and I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge is gonna
time,
blow a lot of people away.
The de-aging looked really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did. I almost like forgot that de-aging was gonna happen in this movie.
Well,
So
I didn't
was
realize
like,
until
this is just old footage, right?
So the
Like,
first time I saw it, I go, "Oh, that must be from Crusade because it's a
Right,
Nazi
exactly.
outfit." And then, like, I watched it again. I go, "Oh no, that's new footage. That's de-aged. That's
that's
incredible."
impressive. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
came a
super
long
incredible.
way since Tarkin. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Is that his name? The general from Rogue One?
Yeah,
that
Grand Moff,
de-aged-
yeah.
Or not de-aged, but they just made him out of entirely from scrap because he's dead.
yeah. I guess this is more like Tony Stark from, you know.
Yeah, Civil War. Even that was a
Civil
little good. What am I thinking?
That was like
There's
at the beginning, you know.
Yeah, it was.
I like Luke with like, you know, Mando, like in Mando.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's some
They're
de-aging.
doing better and better at that.
And this is like a TV budget. Or this is a movie budget though. So it's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
true.
money is there. You
Well,
know, to
and
make
they
it look really
hired.
good.
Remember when they first de-aged Luke? They hired the guy who did a better de-aging. They were like, they
That's
saw
why it
this
looks so
guy
good.
on
That's why it
YouTube.
looks so good the second time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why it looks. So they hired this guy that they found on YouTube that made it look way better, and they were like, "All right, let's just hire him instead of being like, stop doing that. Let's just hire him." Anyway, the Guardians trailer looked outstanding.
Yeah.
I'm kind of already in like a weird space with Marvel in terms of like I liked Wakanda Forever and stuff, but like anytime I see a new trailer, I'm just like, yeah, it looks like another Marvel thing. That's great, whatever. But this Guardians trailer was just different for me. I don't know. It's just the whole vibe and the colors and everything just felt like it was made by a auteur instead of somebody that was just trying to fit the Marvel mold, you know? Like it just felt different. I really dug it, and I love the spacesuits being a shout out to 2001 and not Among Us.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, and I like the song choice too. That was Space Hog, right? Is that what that was? In the meantime or whatever, that old '90s song.
I thought it was a Bowie song, wasn't it? Did they play Bowie song?
No, that was in Quantum Mania. I think they played the Bowie song, right?
Okay.
Is
That's
that
an Elton John. That's an Elton John song.
Or that was an
I
Elton
don't-
John song.
I don't know
yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
They all blend together, but I think
His
that
ship's called the Bowie. That's probably what I'm getting confused. Yeah.
I think they use that in the meantime song that's like. I think that's the song they used. Anyway, that's literally the chorus. There's no words. But yeah, it was really impressive. I like seeing Adam Warlock. He looks exactly how I thought he would.
Yeah, he looks gold.
Yeah, he looks rad. And I can't remember what else they showed. But I feel like some people are going to be dying, and we're going to be having our hearts broken.
Yeah.
It looks like Rocket's getting his love story, and it's gonna be brutal, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, gaming relevant. The Last of Us 2 trailer, or Last of Us trailer 2. This is like the full trailer of Last of Us. We've only been getting teasers before, and yeah, this is the HBO show. And holy crap, dude, this is a great trailer. I didn't expect any of these trailers to have like a pop song in it, and they put "Take on Me" in it of all songs. But they made it work. Like they made it work, and we finally got to hear and get a sense of what Joel and Ellie are going to sound like, and what the actors brought to the table. And I laughed really hard at Ellie pretending to turn into a. Whatever.
Yeah, I thought that actress, like her.
That was a very Ellie moment. The way
I thought that her range was gonna make her kind of more like subdued, especially when they were like, we told her not to read or watch The Last of Us and kind of make Ellie her own. I was like, okay, well, this might be a little more subdued Ellie. That was very classic Ellie to me. Obviously, someone's directing her to be Ellie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, they got to be.
Because I thought we were gonna get a really subdued performance by her, where a lot of like mumbling and not a bad performance, but just like a more not so classic little girly. And Ellie does show lots of shades of that. Sometimes you forget that she's a 9-year-old girl in that game, So
yeah. Good Lord, she's 9 in that game, and
I don't know, like 12, whatever. She's a young girl,
She is young. You're right.
If you're under the age of 25, you're all like 8 to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone's 8 years old. Yeah.
And I think the actor who's playing Ellie is like 19 or 20, and then the actor who's playing the girl from the DLC, whatever her name is, who I'm talking about, the Left Behind DLC. She is like 20 as well. So it's just funny how like Hollywood casts people to be like high schoolers, basically.
You got to get around those child labor laws, man. You can't,
pretty much.
Can't have actual teenagers working full hours on the TV.
14-hour days. Have fun. Just like the rest of us adults. But it looks great, man. The creature design, especially, I think they showed a bloater at the end, and that was very impressive.
Yeah. If we get to a moment where we see the Rat King, not in this season, obviously, but like, that is going to be the coolest thing like ever on television.
And I'm already
that big part from Last of Us 2, in the subway.
Oh, for sure,
yeah, like that. That's like I want.
Well, that was a brief spoilers on Last of Us 2. That was an Abby mission, right? The Rat King.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I thought you were playing as Abby when you end up.
That's what.
That's the Plague's Tale, guys.
Jeez. The point I'm making doesn't matter who's playing. I'd like the show to get there where we see that in live action.
Oh, for sure. I would love to see
that
design in live action for sure. That'd be awesome. Sorry for the brief spoilers. Anybody hasn't played Last of Us Part 2 yet for whatever reason.
Well, everyone hates that game.
There's something called a Rat King, and you play as Abby. I don't think we spoiled anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about 2, right? Everyone hates the second one. So.
A gay person and transgender stuff in that game, so we don't play that.
It's everywhere.
It's all over that game. Literally,
Speaking
that's the story of the game.
Transgender, I thought this was cool. I just saw this now. It really doesn't have anything to do with transgender, but
we still love you regardless of what gender you are.
There was a transition of sorts. What you just did.
There you go, Kyle. Kyle knew what I was doing. They just dropped a Dragon Age Dreadfall teaser.
I did. I saw that.
I just saw that in 5 days. I'm super excited about this. I didn't realize this was happening. Dragon Age Absolution is coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, that's the.
So-
Yeah.
They're releasing the show, so I'm super excited
I hope that's
about
good,
all
yeah.
this Dragon
Yeah, me
Age
too.
stuff.
For the best.
I hope it's more Cyberpunk and less Dragon's Dogma, because Dragon's Dogma was like a steaming pile of dog crap. You know, the anime.
You didn't
version of
like that? I just added that on my to watch.
Oh, it's
list.
not good. And like you just had to follow the game story. Like it wasn't really that hard. And they were just like, oh,
Oh, okay.
So with also just to circle back to the Last of Us trailer, they featured a little bit more of is it the brothers that have that tragic ending in the first game? Are they brothers or is
Yeah.
it father son?
they're
No, it's
brothers.
brother.
Yeah.
They're brothers. So they're featuring them a
brother.
lot in the trailers, and I have a feeling they're gonna make their stay in the story much longer.
They're gonna make
and
that hurt
it,
harder.
dude.
Yeah.
Yes, we're all gonna.
All the hurt
Crumble
that you know
at
is
those
coming,
scenes.
it's gonna hurt twice as hard.
Yeah.
And they may even like reverse a roll or two. You know what I mean? Where
They
it's
may,
like, well,
yeah.
you know, like it not being the other person. who
Did
died
they
or whatever.
say that they're following the games
Yeah,
exactly?
Neil Druckmann says
they
he's telling
gonna-
the story of the first game, and he added scenes to
But
like
it
make more
is-
content.
he's
Yeah, but it is the
sticking
first.
to
It is the
story.
yeah.
He's not going to make any changes. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's not making any changes. There's probably gonna be changes, but the you know like the idea is that he's retelling that story. You know,
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll
with
enjoy it
added
then.
context. With added context.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That would make sense. You have to draw the story out a little bit more too.
Yeah.
So,
Because
Uh,
in
Make
a
it more
video
cinematic.
game, if you think about it, they're traveling by foot most of the time. Of course, there's a couple of times where they were in a car and
Shit hits the fan.
stuff, but we definitely are skipping a lot of stuff. So they could definitely in a show flesh it out more and draw it out more. So yeah, it would
That's
be
what I'm expecting.
more
Yeah.
of an impact.
I didn't
Yeah,
recognize some scenes.
slow it
so-
down a little bit. Whereas
Yeah.
a game has to go, well, we got to shift from this state to this state. You know, they don't have to do that as fast.
You do a whole hour like that was only like 30 minutes in that game. You know, like
Yeah.
you can really dig in on stuff. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're also not watching them literally just walk around some area. Like in the
Yeah,
game, there's
we're-
areas
we're
where you're
not
picking through
gonna-
things. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
we're not
And-
gonna watch Joel be like, "Hold on, I gotta go do something." Then he's like crafting stuff and like,
Yeah,
maybe we will get some of that. I don't
Oh,
know, but
I mean, that's what's going to be in the God of War show. It's just going to be like Kratos looting everything and the other characters just standing there like,
He likes to do that sometimes.
yeah.
exactly. It's kind
And
of
then
his
somebody
thing.
asks him if he likes.
He really
kittens or
really
something, and
likes
he's
his
like,
loot.
Can we not do that
no,
today? No.
No.
we
Oh, you guys would be super excited. I got to actually say this to my girlfriend. She was apologizing to me. Apologize. Be better.
Oh, nice.
She liked that.
Oh
Good
yeah,
advice.
that's good. Yeah.
Do not
You don't need
You
to
were like, I
apologize.
was just
Just-
dating I was just stating a game, quote. But if you learned something from it, great.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just playing God of War and it came.
Yeah.
I said I'm about ready to say something that's probably going to offend you, but please understand it's actually good advice. You don't need to apologize. Just be better.
Boom.
It's good stuff.
In your face. Oh, we're over? Oh, okay. All right. I'll get my
yeah. Oh, you don't want to be better? Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll apologize by ending shit right now. Goodbye. Now
now
be
my
better.
life is.
I'm sorry that this didn't work out. Click.
Yeah.
I also really like the Witcher Blood Origin trailer. I thought that was great, seeing more of the story and like. I mean, I also really respect that it's a 4-episode thing, and we're all probably going to be able to finish it in one sitting if we really wanted to.
When's that coming?
I think the last day of the year. I think the 31st or the 30th, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't The Witcher 3 season 3 coming too?
No,
Not-
not till
not
next
this year,
sometime. Yeah. So Blood
Oh,
Origin.
I thought it was coming
that's
out
just-
this year.
No,
No.
no, it's just the
Okay.
prequel this year, which is kind of cool because I do want to see how that world happened. So I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like
it's
we're
about
gonna
it's
get-
about the convergence,
Actually,
about like all
I
the
was gonna
monsters
say,
coming.
When you shared it and I was watching, I was like, "Am I watching Dragon Age? Is this just like the origin story of Dragon Age, like the
Yeah.
different
Dragon Age and The
characters,
Witcher
different
have
races?"
very similar like storytelling devices in their fantasy. Like it's
Mhm.
portals and bad guys are just pouring out of them, and yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're very similar in that.
And by the way, the reason I brought up the Dragon Age Absolution is I was watching the trailer, and I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I got
could be.
the feeling and the vibe from the trailer that it's basically they're like, we have to go on this journey, and we're going to have 2 mages and blah blah. Like he's listing off who's going to be in this journey. I'm like, oh yes, they're taking the game and making it into a show. Okay, this
I'm
could
into
be
that.
really cool if
the
they
only thing
really take us on a journey.
The only thing I was trying to check, and I'm pretty sure when I checked it, they are 2 different studios. Like I super loved the Castlevania animated show.
It is
On
great.
Netflix. Like it is amazing.
That's on my list as well. I've
Excellent.
got a ton of stuff to watch.
I was hoping it was the same studio. It's not. So we'll see. I don't know what the their previous stuff is. Whoever's doing that Dragon Age.
I'm actually in the middle of looking at that up just to see.
Hopefully it is good.
Hopefully it's not the Dragon.
I watched a Dragon Age movie. I actually bought it and I liked it.
Okay.
They
So
did
I have
The Witcher,
this
Nightmare of
better.
the Wolf. They did that movie.
Oh, okay.
I
I don't know if that was good, but
I think
Witcher-
Kyle saw it. Yeah, the Nightmare of the
Was
Wolf.
that the one that's about Geralt's mentor?
I think so.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really anime, really good. I liked it a lot, man.
Okay.
Hey,
Cool.
what else did they do?
That's
Seven
actually
Deadly
one I
Sins.
wanted to watch as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never
so
watched
they're
that.
not the Dragon's Dogma studio.
Okay.
That's what I was checking.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I heard bad things about that. The only last trailer it's so much of a teaser. There's not much to talk about, but the Gen V trailer dropped, and that's like a it's a spin-off of The Boys, but it focuses on a school or something like that where they kind of
Like
hold
Superhero
these,
Academy.
yeah,
Like
they
My
kind of
Hero
hold these
Academia,
kids
but rated
captive,
R.
kind of. And it looks fun. It looks like more R-rated The Boys stuff, but with teenagers.
Okay.
So it's not
Gotcha.
going to change the entire tone of the show just to
Sure.
appeal to a certain audience. Like, no, they want people
If
that
anything,
watch
it's
The
probably
Boys
gonna be more raunchy
watch
because it's
this.
like
Yeah.
shitty teenagers,
Yeah.
Being shitty and
Being shitty, yeah.
Yeah,
Being-
I didn't recognize
being
anybody
horny.
in the cast outside of I think Clancy Brown is in it. That's the only person I recognized. But yeah,
He
it's
likes being a nerd stuff. That guy's a big nerd. You know?
big nerd.
Big old nerd.
So that's all the trailers that dropped. That's all I had that was relatively
Okay.
interesting. And there's a new console for dogs coming out, guys.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
so
It's called
next-
Joy.
let's talk
Pod.
about that for
no,
2
that's
hours.
next. No,
Yeah.
that's next.
Move on.
Joy Pod. Joy
Joy
Pod.
Paw. All right. Anyways, so
Paw Boy.
Okay.
Paw Boy 64.
That's
So
the
what
way
is
I
it,
wrote it down. Was for some reason Joy Paw is a new console tailored for dogs, and it's like a tablet, and they can push on it with their nose or something. It's never
very-
gonna work, guys. It's
very
never
cute.
gonna work.
They're gonna just chew on it and break everything.
Exactly.
All right. Do we want to just fly through these real quick, or?
I think we can just go to the other stuff we're playing and watching. Honestly.
Yeah. We don't have to hit every headline.
Well, I did want to throw out there because you put in here, and it's I think Yoshida will supposedly be showing up at the Games Award. There's the rumor of him showing up, and then we're gonna definitely get an actual date.
Yes, this
For
Game
16,
Awards
so.
is going to be loaded. I think there is going
He
to
said
be a
it's the
Final
shortest one,
Fantasy.
though.
I think
He
there's
did
going to be a
say that.
Final Fantasy release date reveal because it's been rated in Brazil. And I think there's going to be. I think Kojima's going to show his next thing. Because he's already been showing stuff. So I feel like that's
y'all
what it's
have been
When-
in the marketing campaign for 4 months now, and y'all haven't even known.
When
Yeah, I
is
know.
the video game award?
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And Keeley said it's supposed to be shorter. Like that was his criticism that he took to heart last
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah,
said it's going to be the shortest one yet.
Cut
And I
out the
hope
fluff.
he's right.
Cut out the fluff.
Yeah, I don't need to hear about a lot of the stuff that's going on that show. So.
Exactly. You don't need to show every award, especially the content creator crap and the esports crap.
Yeah, not necessary.
Just give us, man. If you're gonna if you're gonna award one game more than one thing, and you know that in advance, just say this game also won the award for best blah blah blah
Yeah.
while they're walking up to the stage. Like just don't.
Sure.
You know what I
Earlier
mean?
tonight,
it
it also won best blah blah blah. Yeah.
I
agree with
like
that.
when-
Elden
it all,
Ring
like,
wins a big award, like best game direction or whatever. Just be like, this game also won best RPG and blah 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 as they're walking up to the stage. Like, don't.
Yeah, there's like 6 main awards that I truly care about, and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope that's what they end up showing because they're so busy with showing game trailers for the rest.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
And I feel like we're gonna get a lot, especially like the Dragon Age teaser that they just showed, the Dreadwolf thing on YouTube. I feel like they did that as like a way to tell us, hey, we're
getting
probably
more.
we're probably gonna have some stuff at the Game Awards for you too. So anything we're getting like a
I
slight
think
teaser of now, I feel like is going to show up.
Pre-E3, it's pre-E3 week right now, where it's like,
pretty
you
much.
hear about anybody talking about anything, that's probably.
I'm kind of hoping because they did the original trailer at the Video Game Awards, so I'm hoping they're gonna have like a kind of an update, like, hey, here's what the
That'd be
game
cool,
actually
yeah.
looks like.
God, that'd be
Because
amazing.
even in the trailer, it's just talking, and it even says the entire trailer just says not actual gameplay.
They did the
Like,
same
there's
thing.
nothing in there that you see that would have anything to do with how
There's
the
a lot of
game's
games that are
actually
just
gonna
being sat on right now that I want to hear more about. Like, we just
Yeah.
went past N7 Day, and they're like, here's a new little snippet of the new Mass Effect, and it's just like Liara.
Yeah.
It's like Liara talking again. I'm like, you guys need to show something or stop it.
And all they said
And
was
I
just,
prefer
"We're
for them to
working
stop
on
it.
We're working on it.
Um,
Also, they did. These are some details that, looking at it now, could probably feed into Game Awards. But like, Street Fighter 6 has been rated in South Korea, and I think that means Game Awards is going to show a release date for that, or at least a window. And then
the
Tekken
release
8
date. It's ready.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, they've shown so much of that game so far.
It's ready.
And then Tekken 8 is supposedly going to have a showcase at Game Awards, which hasn't even been announced yet, I don't think, right? So like,
I don't think so.
that
Tekken
would
8.
be cool to see for people that like that series.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, it's gonna have they're gonna have so much crap, dude. It's gonna be.
Tekken was
gonna be a
cool
good
with
show.
Tekken 3, and then
The last time Tekken was cool was Tekken Tag Tournament. So.
Oh, that one was a good one too.
I can't remember last time I played them except for arcades, like in a bowling alley or whatever.
I was obsessed with Tekken 3.
That
one
cabinet that you were talking about, Jeff, that's a Tekken Tag cabinet. Version.
Oh, it is.
Tekken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only.
Last one I liked.
I think the only other thing that's interesting, and it's like, oh man, like it sucks for anybody, I guess, and especially like with someone like Derek, for example, who likes to play things that like look really nice and like kind of the best version of it. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to, PlayStation 5 and Xbox
I wonder
Series
how much
S.
better it's gonna. I'm
So-
sure it's gonna look at the PC version, is what I imagine.
Visually,
The
How cool is
PC,
that?
I have it on PC, and it looks like a 4K Switch game. It's
But
not like
that's
they
not
went
it.
in there and
That's a bummer.
yeah,
but does
that's
it
all
run better though?
They didn't go in there and do anything.
So
yeah,
it better
of
be
course runs
priced. It better be
Yeah,
priced
yeah,
like
yeah.
a lower price game, like $49.99 or something.
Sure.
It's on Game Pass, so
Yeah, it'll be on Game
Um,
Pass January 20th, which
yeah.
is awesome. Yeah, that's
January
cool.
20th is the date. So,
I
and
just
then,
realized another detail. Diablo 4 is apparently going to have an April release date, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's also going to be shown at the Game Awards.
that could be
yeah,
Game
yeah.
Awards as well.
I think
so.
for sure they're gonna allow Blizzard to be on that show after all the shade that was thrown last year.
Yeah,
For
they
sure,
did.
for
They
sure,
did.
yeah.
They did specifically call them out last year, like so they're probably going
As
to
they
now.
should. As they should.
Yeah.
Who completed Sifu?
That I did. I completed.
I did.
Okay.
I
So
completed
actually-
completely.
Real quick though, because you put in, I'm assuming you had put in here, Jeff, film based on Sifu in the works from John Wick writer creator Derek Kolstad. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
he
pretty
was like the OG writer of the first three, I think. I don't think that he wrote the fourth one because he's a busy guy. He's been writing a lot. But yeah, he's been working on a film that's based on Sifu, and I thought it was really weird that it was phrased that way, but I think it's because it's not going to be a direct adaptation.
Okay.
But hey, whatever. I'll take another
Kung Fu
action
mo-
movie
yeah,
from that guy. Who
Kung-
cares?
Kung
If it's
Fu
a kung
movie?
fu
Yeah.
review,
That's all I care
revenge movie,
about.
that's all I care
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
that's all
I just here are my qualifications. He needs to be in a suit, the kung fuer, and they need to go to a nightclub at least once.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Outside of that.
And he needs to be played by Keanu Reeves.
I'll buy that. Also, I'll raise one more setting. Has to have a sauna scene.
Can I throw one more thing in there?
A fight in a sauna. That's classic.
I
Oh,
need
okay,
it.
gotcha.
Can it be Tony Jaa? Because Tony Jaa is amazing.
He's
Isn't
old.
he like
I don't
60
even-
now?
Yeah, he's old now. Sorry, dude.
No,
Those
no.
days are over.
Tony
Those
Jaa.
days-
Tony
Can we
Jaa.
just cast
Daniel
one of the big
Freitas.
guys?
Elbow
Just
to
make him
his
big.
elbow.
the young, able-minded Tony Jaa losing his mentor, who's got to be 100, just basing off how old
Yeah.
Tony Jaa is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not gonna play well.
Whatever.
imagine that
I
they're
love
gonna-
Ombak, dude. I love Ombak.
I do too. I love that movie too. He's just
It's
80.
alright.
So
The
80.
Thai type of martial arts, whatever it is that he does, it's a little too
Muay Thai.
theatrical for me.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai.
Is it Muay Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah, Muay Thai. No,
It's-
dude, elbows
it's
flying
just
everywhere.
it's a little too silly. I don't know. I tried
The
those movies. I
the
really-
Protector is the bomb. I love that movie.
Is that the one where there's like 80 dudes coming at him and he breaks all of their limbs? Is that the Protector?
Maybe
Is that the
this one-
staircase movie?
It's a
Is that-
staircase movie.
Yeah,
where he's
yeah.
running. That's
Yep, yep.
that's incredible. That's all movie time.
Yeah. So at the end where he like
Unblock
it's
is
the final
silly
scene.
compared to the Protector, which is
Yeah,
I think
the
the point
Protector's a
you were
little more
trying to make.
grounded, and I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
absolutely, and I agree with that 100%.
But I love Onbak, dude. Onbak is amazing.
It's not as good as Protector, but yeah, I love.
That is
I
good.
love
No,
That's good.
you're
wrong.
wrong.
Wrong, Dan.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Dan's wrong.
Just
Go
like the
back to
internet,
Protector.
you guys are wrong. You guys are wrong all the time.
Dan,
I just
where
want
is
it
he
to be
at?
on record that we all are aware that Dan's wrong. So.
Listen, I'm right because I know how to do Kung Fu because I beat Sifu on normal difficulty. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I beat
There's
it
no way.
too, and
I
I
don't have
don't
time
need
for
an
that.
extra label to say how I beat it. I just beat it.
All right,
So
Jeff,
how
you
about
beat Sifu.
How
Did
did
you
you
like
get-
Sifu?
Loved it, dude. It's easily top 5 material for me. He's top 5, top 6. It's up there for me.
It's up there.
I loved it so much, and the fact that like it introduces a new mechanic after you beat it the first time, like you have the option of practicing. I think it's called Wu Dai, which is like not sacrificing yourself, but like showing mercy to your opponent, basically,
Yes.
instead of
This
killing them.
trophy. There's a trophy attached to that.
Yeah, and I went ahead and just went right back through and got it because I'm already in easy mode. So I was like, all right, let's just plow right through. I'm still 28 or whatever. Let's just go through again.
Yep.
So I just went back through it and got the true ending, and it probably took me like all day. By that I mean like another 5 hours or whatever, because the way you have to end those fights is totally different. You can't give them the finisher at any point, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, when you get that final true ending, I'm like, damn, this story ended up being kind of like way deeper than people are kind of leading it on to be. Like there's actually quite a bit more layers to it than I expected. But yeah, it's damn, dude, it's good. It's really good, and it's gonna get forgotten, unfortunately. It's just that type of year. So
yeah, Sifu's fantastic. I really enjoyed Sifu.
Yeah. I also did a quick diddle of hey diddle diddle with your kitty in the middle of
What?
That's terrible. That's terrible. Sorry. I swear to God, it's an Aerosmith lyric. I swear to God.
Tim,
Shut it down.
edit that.
Shut it
Oh
down.
my god.
Shut it down.
But I've never played the
How do I
original
mute
God
Jeff?
of War, the
Can I
first
mute
God of War
Jeff?
game. So I played the
You
first
just
one on like
block
PS,
him.
PS Now or whatever. I streamed it, and hey man, that game still controls really well. Like I have to give some props to these games that aged actually pretty well. I'm not going to beat it. There's too much else going on. But I also got a lot of Game Pass and Steam games that I played. A lot of them are actually relevant to the Game Awards. Vampire Survivors I finally played. That game is actually really fantastic, despite being a more... I would call it a passive experience, but there's still some stress involved because you're not really hitting an attack button, but you are controlling your person and trying to avoid hordes, right? So you're not... It's just a different kind of stress. Like you want to get the next treasure, whatever. You want to get the next thing that you can buy, the next upgrade that can help you in your fight. But yeah, people talking about this like it's a game of the year contender. Come on, bro. Like it's really good, but come on.
I'm looking at it and it looks like one of those old, like, did you ever play Yipe?
No.
Yipe back in the day? I remember
the design is very crude and very old like NES days almost. SNES maybe. But yeah, it's one of those things where like the attack is just constantly coming and it's at like, I don't know, like every few seconds you get like a strike. And the more you kill, the more enemies you kill, you collect gems from the kills that you got, and you buy upgrades with that. And some of those upgrades are like Bibles that you use that circle around you constantly, kind of like your hit does.
Back to Christianity.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very Christian game.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Quit attacking me, please.
And it is quite fun, and there is something that feels really good about whenever you do get to buy an upgrade before you die and stuff like that, because you are expected to die. It's a roguelike in that way. So it's interesting. I'm definitely going to keep going back to it, but this Game of the Year talk is it's a bit of a stretch. I don't know that it will win anything at the Game Awards. I know it's nominated though. Also nominated, I think this is nominated for the stupid impact category, whatever that means. Hindsight, I played that. One of the most boring games I ever played of the year. It's 2 hours long, and I was still bored to tears.
Hindsight is 2020, and
so
in this case,
I don't want to.
I
don't mean to like minimize whatever the game writer, the creator writer was.
Full stop.
Full stop. I just stopped you by moving on.
High five.
But you must bump this. So it's the game writer is clearly going through like processing her losing her parents or whatever. But it just made for one of the most boring games I've ever played. This is not like a That Dragon Cancer type thing.
I was literally about to ask if it's like that.
No, I mean it's trying to be a little bit, but there's way less actual gameplay. You're just kind of focusing on moving from one scene to the next, and it triggers a flashback for the person that's doing the narration. Also, the person that's doing the narrating sounds like she's asleep in the booth. It sounds terrible, and so it's just kind of floored me that this game got nominated for anything. And then Citizen Sleeper is another one I think that got nominated for best, I think, first indie. And this is one where it's like a text-based thing, like, and I got like 5 minutes into it where I was like, oh, this is all this is. Okay, yeah, I'm not playing this. Anything that's text-based and I got to read and it's like a novel worth of entries one after another. No, thank you. But some people love that type of stuff, and that's where the praise is coming from, I guess. But yeah, totally not for me. And the game I spent the most time playing was Card Shark, and I freaking loved that game until I hit a wall with it. But it's a card game, but not in traditional sense. Like you are somebody that is trying to basically scam people in card games, and you're supposed to like manipulate your shuffles and your deals to favor your accomplice at the table. So that's what you're doing. It's more quick time focused stuff, and you're not so much playing actual cards. So it is really cool that that's a mechanic in a game. Like I'd never seen a game do that before. And the animation is more like Pentiment, where it's like that old. I want to use the term Baroque, but I don't know anything about that time period, so it's probably way off on that. But it is that type of art style where it's like Pentiment from that time period in France. So I mean, it's got like a style for days and stuff. And I really love that they're teaching you real card tricks people would use when playing poker. These are real things that people did, like
poker. I hardly know her.
Yeah, I don't even know her. But there was one trick in particular where you need to like arrange your cards a certain way. So like if your accomplice is a second guy you're dealing cards to, you have to give him 2 aces. And then you have to mathematically work out, okay, so that means I got to deal this card first, and then this card first, and then an ace, and so I just could not get the pattern right, I guess. And I kept giving him an ace and like a shitty card, and he was supposed to get 2 aces, and I kept fumbling it. I did it 6 times, and I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I need,
put it on easy mode.
Unfortunately, I did. And what easy mode does is there's a bar at the bottom of the screen as you're dealing cards, where if you're taking way too long to manipulate your cards, the person that's at the table that you're trying to scam money out of, they'll get mad. Like, so the meter goes from like green to yellow to red. And if it's in red, they're close to getting mad and like shooting you or shooting your accomplice or something else. Like they'll just get mad basically. So that's what easy mode does, is it slows how fast that bar rises. But yeah, some of the tricks are just too complicated for me. And I got like, there's 28 tricks total that you learn. I got to 13. And that's when I was like, okay, I guess I just can't do this one. But the story is really interesting. You're trying to find out some scandal involving the King Louis the 15th, and something about him having a child out of wedlock.
Shocker.
So it's very interesting story, really cool style, really inventive type of game. It's just I'm at a wall, and I'd much rather play Midnight Suns right now. Like I rage quit and uninstalled it. It's just one of those things where it's like I just don't have patience and time for this right now. But it is a top 10 contender. If I was able to get past that, man, I would just be singing this games. I would be like Tim with Neon White. I would just be like singing its praises.
Which is also coming to other consoles, by the way.
It is?
Neon White, yep.
Is it not on everything already?
No.
Really? Huh.
Yep. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
You're muted, Kyle.
Just PC and Switch only.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. So that's also coming
that's cool.
Xbox and PlayStation.
Good for them. I still got it installed on PC, and I still need to play it. Looks awesome.
Also has cards, right? I think.
Yeah, that's the card game.
Yeah.
Lots
of cards.
I think it's like a faster, certainly way faster than Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's like where you're like literally
it's like a frenetic. Yeah.
You're literally moving, and as you're moving, you have to pick a card, right? Like.
Yeah, it's very frenetic first person, like running and jumping.
Tapping, like let's say it's the A button. You're tapping the A button on that card, and that card, if it's a machine gun, will shoot.
Gotcha.
So that's how it works. But your whole point is to fly through the level and kill things super fast, like 30 seconds a level, and you're getting time and you get rewarded based off that.
So you'll be replaying levels probably. on that.
Yeah.
type of game. Yeah.
It's definitely not a Derek game. I mean,
I
I looked
see.
into it because I thought the
You
aesthetic
did some
of it
digging.
looked cool.
Gotcha.
I did some digging, and then I was like, no, this is a Tim game. It's gay, so I don't. I don't. Do that.
But wait, hold on. If
I
we're gonna
kiss guys, but I don't do.
yeah,
that.
I was gonna say if we're gonna rewind the episode back here,
Edit that
Kissing
out.
guys
there,
don't make
Tim.
you gay.
Tim has a lot of editing to do.
That's.
jeez.
I mean, I had
like
some
to
other
make the
games that
man.
I had some other games that I played, but it's not really where I don't even feel like talking about them anymore. I've talked way too
Okay.
much. Somebody else talk about something they've done.
Who put down God of War? 2005 God of War?
That was me. I already brought that up.
Ah, okay, cool. Marvel Snap. Who's playing mobile games? Who's the clown playing mobile
That was
games?
me too.
No, we're not talking about that. We're skipping that.
No,
We're like
yeah, so
we're edging on 3 hours and we're not talking about mobile
Yeah,
games.
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Do you
I'm okay
guys-
with skipping over that.
you guys finished Andor? Is it Star Wars? Is
Andor's great.
Lots of Star Wars?
If you haven't watched it yet, please, for the love of God, go watch it. It's one of my favorite Star Wars things. Period.
Same.
It's so good. Yeah.
Same.
I probably should hurry up. I think I just canceled my Disney stuff. So I don't know if it's ended yet or if I have a few days. Maybe I should try to finish. Andor.
Time is of the
Where are
essence.
you on it? It's 12 episodes, so it's not like
Oh, never
painfully
mind.
long.
I'm only like 3 episodes in.
Oh crap! You're not gonna finish it. in
2
time.
or 3 episodes in. I didn't realize it was 12. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be 8. Okay.
Yeah,
Never
no,
mind.
I think they're doing 2 12-episode seasons, and that's
I mean,
That's
I'll
a wrap.
get it later. Let me
Yeah.
get through Netflix. The only thing I have to add, because I agree with Kyle, we're at 3 hours. Nobody's listening to our show except Gas.
I'm like it's 8 o'clock
Sorry.
on a Sunday. It's
still-
like sleepy time for me.
Yeah.
I
This is
still
my
It's
hate
edible
you.
time.
The only thing I would add is that I'm still, even with all these games releasing, I am still going back to Star Ocean. So I'm not going to sit
Wow.
here and sing its praises as far as I've already said. It's not amazing, but it's fun and I regret buying it. I think it's still worth playing, and my goal is to continue to play through it. Kind of like how I did at Xenoblades, where sometimes it would be my main game and I would just dive in for hours, and then I'd get away from it and then come back. So that's kind of how I'm treating Star Ocean.
It's funny is like you froze as you were saying, I don't regret buying it. So what we heard was I regret buying it, and I was like, yep, that makes sense.
I don't regret.
All right.
Nope, you totally regret it. You're on the
Well,
record.
I guess that's a good note to leave on. Just a shit game like Star Ocean. Real cool. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have ended on,
I mean,
ended on Andor.
We
but,
started with a shit. We started with a shit game. We ended with a shit game.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
This
Definitely.
Callisto is like clearly a 5 out of 10 experience at best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Callisto
Yeah, yeah.
Protocol.
I've never
if
seen so
anybody
many sub
scored
6
it-
games ever in my entire life.
If somebody scored it over a 5 or 6, they are stupid.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna.
And they're
Objectively-
clowns. They're clowns too.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fact,
that's
Jack.
fact.
Objectively speaking, they are very dumb.
Yeah,
So-
they're a clown.
Objectively.
They're objectively a clown, and I'll just ask anybody with a writing degree. You just know that they're a clown.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody has
Loser.
degrees for anything. Everyone's just stupid. Everyone's dumb. Nobody has degrees.
I have a writing degree. I can't believe that guy could not follow what I was trying to say. You telling me you have a writing degree does not mean shit to me. Why can you not follow?
He didn't get it. Yeah.
I really, honestly, it would actually be really funny and fun to have him on here.
No, it wouldn't.
And just,
No,
and just
dude,
like,
he would cut everybody
All
off
of us
and
would
just be
rage
like, "You're
quit,
fat,
yeah.
you're dumb,
Yeah.
you're a
but
clown."
that's hold on, but that's the thing though. We would
I'm out of here.
you'd try to argue with him, right? And then we would just kick him out of the call because we can do that. So like, who cares?
I'd rather
I'm
just
sure
not
he-
waste the time acknowledging his
Okay.
existence. And
I just thought it was fun. don't know.
I didn't update that, but like that literally went on till I got up for my girlfriend's at 3 a.m, and he had still pinged me again.
You. Wow.
He still pinged me again, and I went, "This is unbelievable."
This is
And his
Nothing
thing
else
that he was
going on.
pinging, yeah, it was amazing. And then he started with fighting with like 3 or 4 other guys, because most guys they weren't like Derek's right. They were just jumping in against Sean. They were like, "This guy's a clown. He's an idiot." So
Yeah.
that was a nice little.
all right. So
I
now we're back
enjoyed
up.
it.
Good note. We're ending on some shit talking of.
some real inside baseball stuff.
Yeah,
there, man.
very much so.
All right. Anyways, all right. So we partied real hard. We talked about games. Everyone's wicked drunk. We're all wicked smashed. Derek is in the corner making out with the dude or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You
But,
gotta,
girl-
yeah,
try it.
really
You gotta
man.
try it before you buy it. That's what I've always told. All right.
yeah. Except for
You don't know
Callisto
until you do
Protocol,
it.
because Callisto Protocol is terrible. So don't buy it. Obviously,
exactly.
you don't have to try.
5 out of 10.
It and Gotham
Midnight.
Knights deserves its 4s that it's getting.
Yeah.
Because no
Oh my
Batman.
God, dude.
No Batman.
That really did start a trend, didn't it? Like,
It did.
I guess reviewers late in the year were just like, whatever, dude. 4
You
or
know
5 out
what?
of
We're
10
actually
for
gonna
every
use a whole
game.
spectrum of numbers in this thing that we're using. And
Right. So no Batman in Gotham Knights and no Dead Space in Callisto Protocol. So 6 out of 10.
Either
Just-
no Dead Space or the other part was people were complaining it's too much like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So
you know,
That's
the game that
crazy.
everyone's like, this looks like Dead Space. I'm so excited for, and then it comes out, they're like, oh, why is this so Dead Spacey? Because you literally begged for this game.
You did.
I was
For
there.
years.
You all begged for
I
it.
was there.
I
We were
was
all
there. I had front row tickets. Okay.
Yeah. You
I was
invited
so
me to the
there.
PowerPoint presentation. You showed me.
You even said, I want Josh Duhamel in a freaking Dead Space game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll roll back Twitter. Okay. Elon lets us do that now.
all right, Dan, shut us down. This is getting out of control.
Shut it down.
Delirious
All right.
You're
now.
supposed to be the dad
Kyle-
today.
Kyle, Jeff, Derek, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of you. You all have a good night. And
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
keep it right, keep it
Goodbye.
tight.
I'm
keep
stuck.